Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Uzumaki Naruto sat in his seat in the classroom. Today he was going to get his genin team and Junin Sensei. It had been one day since the traitor Mizuki had told him that he was the Kyuubi no Kitsune, and Iruka Sensei had saved his life, telling him he was really only the demon's container. Naruto had passed the exam by beating Mizuki with the new he had learned, Kage Bunshin. Now he sat, grinning like a madman, and waited for the teams to be called. Iruka Sensei held up a clipboard and started reading the names. Naruto didn't care much as long as he wasn't on Sasuke Bastard's team. Team 7. Uzumaki Naruto, Haruna Sakura. At this Naruto cheered and Sakura hung her head. And Yamanaka Ino. Team 8. Hyuga Hinata, Inazuka Kiba, Aburame Shino. Team 9. AN. Unimportant and won't be named. Team 10. Uchiha Sasuke, Nara Shikamaru, Akamichi Choji. These are the genin teams. Everyone waits here for your Junin Sensei, except Team 7. You three follow me, Iruka said and left, three confused genin trailing behind him. Iruka Sensei, why must I be on a team with Ino Pig and dead last Naruto? Why can't I be on a team with Sasuke-kun? Sakura asked, loudly. Iruka sighed and rubbed his head. Because Hokage-sama thinks it is best. Now come on, you three have an appointment with him, Iruka said and headed towards the Hokage Tower. The three genin exchanged glances before hurrying after the Chunin. When they arrived, they saw several Junin walk out of the Hokage's office before disappearing in smoke. Iruka led the three genin inside the office and they stood to attention in front of the Hokage, except Naruto who looked bored and had his hands behind his head. Team 7 Hokage-sama, Iruka said and Sandaime Hokage nodded. Yes, thank you Iruka. I suspect you want to stick around to hear this as well. He asked and Iruka nodded. Very well, Sandaime said before clearing his throat. You three are lucky. You will be trained by Konoha's strongest Junin. You were handpicked to be trained by him, and I suspect that under his training, you will become great ninjas. Sandaime said smilingly. Naruto, Sakura and Ino looked at each other and were about to say something but Sandaime interrupted. We can take questions later. Your sensei isn't here yet, since he is out on a mission, but he should be back soon. In the meantime I have to ask you something about Naruto. Huh, what is it, old man? Naruto asked, before getting bonked on the head by Iruka. Naruto's whining was interrupted when Sandaime chuckled before becoming serious again. Naruto, your sensei asked me to ask you if you want to tell your teammates about your secret. Sandaime said and Naruto and Iruka's eyes widened. Sakura and Ino looked at each other before looking at Naruto. What secret? Sakura asked but Naruto was focusing on Sandaime. Won't that make them hate me? He asked and Sandaime looked thoughtful. Your sensei doesn't think so. I agree with him, if you and I tell them the whole story. He said. Naruto thought for a while before looking dejected. Alright, but can you tell them? He said and Sandaime nodded. Hokage-sama, is this wise? Iruka asked and Sandaime looked at him. If White Wolf is right, then it will build a strong sense of trust inside the team. Sandaime said and Iruka nodded. White Wolf? Naruto asked hopefully. Yes, that is the nickname your sensei has. You remember him, don't you, Naruto? Sandaime asked and the boy nodded. I remember a little bit about him, Naruto replied. Can someone please tell us what is happening? Ino asked, irritated. Yes, now that Naruto has given me permission I will tell you. Sandaime said and drank a little water from a glass that was on his desk. I will tell you the true story about what happened 12 years ago. You know that the Kyuubi no Kitsune attacked Konoha and killed a lot of ninjas. Right? He asked and Sakura and Ino nodded. The demon was very strong and Yondaime-sama saw only one way to stop it. The history books say that he killed the demon with the cost of his own life. That is not true. The truth is that the demon was too strong. So Yondaime-sama and his adoptive son, your sensei, started preparing a special while the Kyuubi was held off. Your sensei was 7 at the time, but already very powerful and skilled. He helped Yondaime-sama with the before heading out and helping to delay the demon as well. During that fight, he got his nickname, the White Wolf. He showed huge power that day, actually managing to destroy one of Kyuubi's legs. The Kyuubi regenerated the leg and almost killed your sensei, but Yondaime-sama came before the demon could. He engaged the demon in battle on top of Gamabunta, but he didn't have time to use his. Your sensei saw this and called out his attack again. Kyuubi heard that and turned his attention to your sensei, not wanting to be hit with that again. But it was a false call, since White Wolf was out of chakra. But that moment of distraction was enough for Yondaime-sama, who used his unsealed Kyuubi's spirit into a newborn baby. He knew the only way to kill Kyuubi was to make him mortal, and the only way to do that was to seal him into a newborn baby, since the baby's chakra coils weren't fully developed yet. Yondaime-sama sealed the Kyuubi into a boy, and died because of it. The seal was so strong, the Kyuubi would never escape. That boy was Uzumaki Naruto. Sandame said. Sakura and Ino gasped and looked at Naruto, who looked down at the ground. Yondaime-sama wanted Naruto to be seen as a hero who saved Konoha, but instead he was seen as the demon he is the prisoner of. Let me make this clear. Naruto is not Kyuubi. Almost everyone in Konoha that was there at the attack knows of the sealing. I passed a law saying that no one was to speak of that. But Konoha didn't believe me when I said that the sealing didn't turn Naruto into Kyuubi. They see Naruto as the demon. But it is not true. Naruto is the demon's prison, and will be its executioner. From what I know of the seal, it started to bind Kyuubi to Naruto's soul when it was sealed. That means that if Naruto dies, Kyuubi dies. Yondaime could have ordered Naruto killed, but he put in a second function to seal as well. Soon, Naruto will begin to absorb the Kyuubi. What that means is that Naruto will slowly kill the demon, and take its chakra as his own. That was Yondaime-sama's ultimate punishment for Kyuubi. The demon is fully aware of what happens around it, but can't do anything. When Naruto starts to absorb the Kyuubi, he will use its power in Konoha's service. That means that Kyuubi's power will be used to help the village it tried to destroy. Naruto is the protector of Konoha, holding Kyuubi back. Sadly, that is also why he is hated. Sandame said sadly. Sakura looked puzzled. Hated? Why? She asked. When Naruto looked at her in disbelief, Ino continued. Yeah, why would the adults hate the boy that saved them? She asked. Naruto stared at them both. You don't hate me? He asked hesitantly. Sakura and Ino grinned at each other. Well, you are annoying, loud and stupid. Sakura began. But no demon. Anyone should be able to see that. Ino continued. And besides, from what Hokage-sama said, that thing was sealed inside you and isn't you. You are Naruto, Kyuubi is Kyuubi. That's all there is to it. Sakura said. Naruto couldn't do anything except stare at them, a couple of tears rolling down his face. That confused the girls. Why are you crying, Naruto? Ino asked. Naruto has been hated all his life. Iruka said. Sandame nodded. Yes. Instead of being seen as the hero he is, Naruto has been seen as the demon all his life. From the moment Kyuubi was sealed into Naruto, he has been hated. He was an orphan, and at the orphanage he was constantly abused by his caretakers. So I had no choice but to buy an apartment for him, and assign someone to help him, but even then he was abused. Glares, words of hate, physical abuse, death threats and assassination attempts are only a little bit of what Konoha has done to Naruto. You wonder why he wears an orange jumpsuit. That is because the only clothing store in Konoha that will let him in, will only sell him its poorest clothes. The reason Naruto loves ramen. He can't get anything else. You have called him dead last. The reason he is that is because Kyuubi makes his chakra control bad and no one wants to teach him. Even Iruka hated Naruto for a long time. Sandaime said. Sakura and Ino stared in disbelief at Naruto before turning to Iruka with angry glares. Iruka looked ashamed. Kyuubi killed my parents, and I was so sure Naruto was Kyuubi. So I hated him, but over time I saw that he was just an ordinary boy with a huge burden. Hokage-sama explained to me that Naruto wasn't the demon, but I wouldn't listen. Then I remembered a day about 2 weeks after the Kyuubi was sealed. Iruka said. What happened, Iruka-sensei? Naruto asked. Naruto was almost executed, Sandaime said, and the three genin whipped around and stared at him. The council had been trying to overpower me about Naruto for 2 weeks. Yondaime-sama left a will saying that Naruto was to be treated like any regular boy, and be raised as a ninja. But the council didn't want that. They wanted Kyuubi killed. Normally the council can't overpower me, but they got all the clans in Konoha to agree, and even without my consent, Naruto's execution was arranged. Your sensei and his teammates, Hitaki Kakashi and Haruno Rin, A.N. In this story, Sakura's mom is Rin, one of the students of the Yondaime Hokage, were just in time to stop the execution. The three of them were the first ones to know that Naruto wouldn't be the demon. Kakashi and Rin had been released from the hospital the day before and had gone back to get your sensei, since he was the only one that the council would listen to. I will never forget that day. Flashback. A huge crowd was gathered around a podium in the center of Konoha. On the podium, a group of important people stood, the Sandaime Hokage, the council, and the elders and heads of every clan in Konoha. In front of them a baby boy lay in a simple cradle, crying. The council had just finished announcing that they would kill the Kyuubi once and for all. A hooded man stepped forward and raised his sword. The executioner waited for his signal and got it from the council. He swung the sword downwards, preparing to kill the baby. A clang and his sword were stopped. In front of him 3 people stood. A brown-haired girl was holding the Kyuubi boy, a silver-haired boy with his Konoha Hita 8 spelled right. Tilted over his right eye stood next to the girl. The two of them looked about 18 or 19. I don't care about their real age. Here they are 18 years older than Naruto, but the one that had stopped the sword was the one the executioner and the council focused on. Brown hair with golden streaks in it, brown eyes with a black ring framing the brown, and an innocent face. The 7-year-old white wolf. He shouldn't be able to move yet. His right leg had been crushed and 6 of his ribs had been broken in the fight against Kyuubi. Numerous other wounds had been inflicted also. Most noticeable were 3 claw marks down his right cheek. He had stopped the sword with his bare hand, and was now emitting a killer intent so strong, the executioner would have collapsed had not the boy held his sword up. With a movement of his hand, the boy had shattered the sword. The executioner fell to the floor and passed out. The boy looked at the council and spat before turning to Sandaime. Hokage-sama, why are there only idiots and imbeciles in the council and as heads of the clans? He asked loud enough that the crowd could hear. They had fallen completely silent when the trio had shown up. Those 3 were supposed to hate the demon brat as well, since their teacher had been killed by it. Instead they were protecting it. I do not know Wolf, but I suspect they didn't listen to my explanation about the seal and the boy. Sandaime replied. The boy sighed and walked up to his teammates. The boy stroked Naruto's cheek and the boy gurgled a little, grinning happily up at the one who had saved him. This boy is in Kyuubi's prison, not in Kyuubi itself. The seal I and Yondaime-sama created is designed to make it so that this boy will be able to kill Kyuubi when he is old enough. But that can't happen yet, and the seal hasn't had enough time to become complete yet. If Naruto dies now, Kyuubi will be released. If Naruto lives, he can use the Kyuubi's power to protect Konoha, thus making up for what the demon did to us. I will give you fair warning. Hokage-sama has passed a law, saying that anyone who speaks about Naruto and Kyuubi without Naruto's consent will be severely punished. Also, anyone that tries to kill him will be punished as well. If the Anbu finds the ones breaking these rules, the ones who broke the rules will be put in jail. If I find the ones who broke the rules, I will kill them. No trial. It won't matter who it is, be it an ordinary villager, or a Hyuga. That doesn't matter. The ones who try to hurt this boy, the boy chosen by Yondaime Hokage-sama to be our hero, will face the consequences. You have been warned. The white wolf roared to the crowd, his killer intent making even the Anbu feel uneasy. Kakashi and Rin didn't say anything, instead they tried to calm Naruto down. End flashback. That day was the day that ensured Naruto's survival. Most of the clans had been hesitant to help the council, since they didn't know if Naruto was the Kyuubi or not. Wolf's speech told them that Naruto was indeed an innocent boy and most of the clans backed away, some even promised to protect the boy, like the Hitaki and Haruno clans. But others, like the Uchiha and Hyuga clans still didn't believe it. The council didn't either, but understood that at the very least, Kyuubi's power would not be able to hurt Konoha. But the villagers still hated Naruto, and treated him like crap. Kakashi, Rin and Wolf tried to help Naruto as much as they could, but Rin had her own daughter to take care of, Kakashi was busy with being Junin, and Wolf was busy training and learning everything Yondaime-sama wanted him to. So I had to move Naruto to his apartment, and that is when the assassination attempt started. I had originally ordered some babysitters to take care of Naruto, but they would just help the assassins, so I had to get ninjas who believed what Wolf said to take care of you. Most of them were genin, so I also had to have Anbu protect you. Wolf would make as much time for you as he could and stopped more assassins than he cared to count. He got tired of not knowing who hired the assassins and got the leader of the Anbu interrogation squad to teach him how to break even the best ninjas. So Wolf started a very effective strategy. He would stop the assassin from killing Naruto, learn who hired the assassin, kill the assassin or sometimes just arrest him, and pay the client a visit. Those visits could be heard all over Konoha from the screams of the client. That campaign got Wolf hated by Konoha as well, but he didn't care. And as he said, it didn't matter who it was that tried to kill Naruto. If it was a Uchiha, Wolf would kill him, take the Uchiha's eyes and send them to the client before the visit. If it was a Hyuga, Wolf would send the bloody Hyuga crest to the client before his visit. All of this earned Wolf a second nickname, the Blood Wolf. Then one day, the Uchiha stopped trying to kill Naruto. They had tried for 3 years and had lost a lot of assassins. They made a sort of a peace treaty with Wolf, promising to stop trying to kill Naruto as long as Wolf didn't kill any other Uchiha. But the Hyuga continued and Wolf got tired of it. He saw that it was mostly Hyugas from the branch family that were sent as assassins. Hyuga is divided into 2 families, the main and branch. The main is the founders and leaders, the branches are there to protect the main. The main use a special seal to keep the branch family in line, called the caged bird seal. That seal destroys the Hyuga bloodline after the Hyuga with the seal is dead, but can also be used to inflict terrible pain. Wolf asked one of the assassins from the Hyuga branch family why he was trying to kill Naruto. The reply was that a man from the council of the main family forced him, saying they would activate the seal on his wife and daughter if he didn't comply. I still remember the howl Wolf emitted then. As I said, whenever he fights to his full potential, he wears a wolf mask. He also sounds like a wolf. That day, he took Naruto to Rin, and brought the assassin to me. I was puzzled as to why the assassin still was alive, when Wolf explained. The assassin didn't really want to kill Naruto, the branch Hyuga family generally believed Wolf and saw Naruto as Naruto. So Wolf took the assassin and me to the Hyuga compound, reunited the assassin with his wife and daughter before dragging the main family member that had ordered the assassination and flung him on the ground in front of the Hyuga's main building. Just about every member of the Hyuga family came and saw what happened next. Sandaime said, huffing for breath after that long speech. Flashback. This man, This scum of a man has just ordered a family man to kill Uzumaki Naruto, knowing full well that I would most likely kill him. Why did he do it? Because he hates Naruto and the Branch family. Two birds with one stone, right? Wolf said, glaring at the Hyuga he was standing in front of. The head of the Hyugas, Hyuga Hiyashi, walked over to Sandame. What is Wolf-san going to do? He asked. Sandame looked at Hiyashi. He knew that Hiyashi didn't see Naruto as Kyuubi, but didn't like the boy anyway. Instead, Hayashi disliked the boy because he was of an unknown clan, and to Hyuga Hiyashi that spoke weak and useless. But at least Hayashi didn't hate the boy because of Kyuubi. I don't know, but I think he is going to show your council that he is tired of the state of affairs. Sandame replied. The two of them focused back on the boy when he started making seals. Everyone recognized the seals. Suddenly a green seal was on the forehead of the Hyuga in front of Wolf. The caged bird seal. I will show everyone what will happen if the Hyuga still try to kill Naruto. Wolf said and activated the seal on the scared Hyuga's forehead. He screamed in pain and started writing on the ground. The screaming continued for about 5 minutes, but right before the Hyuga was about to die, Wolf stopped. He turned to the council of Hyuga elders. Some might think this is a little much, but think about the fact that this man has ordered someone to kill a 3-year-old boy. When the man refused to do what this bastard ordered, he threatened to use this seal on the poor man's wife and child. Is that fair? I think this bastard deserved all he got. Just as a warning, every main family member that orders Uzumaki Naruto killed will receive the same treatment from me that this man has. Wolf said in a loud voice. A murmur went through the main family. He is just a kid. Horrible power. And similar things were heard. Wolf ignored it, turned to the Hyuga under him and asked him. Do you have kids? The Hyuga refused to reply, or he intended, but when he looked at Wolf, the brown eyes of the boy had changed. Instead they were glowing. The brown had been replaced by light blue, bordering on white with a black ring around and the black pupil in the middle. After seeing that eye, the Hyuga realized he was shaking his head, indicating that he didn't have any children, which was true. Well then, I hope you will have sufficient time to think about your crimes in the afterlife. Wolf said and was about to kill the man, but Sandame stopped him. Don't. This man is to be arrested and not even the Hyuga council can get him out. Sandame said. Wolf looked at him and nodded, returning his eyes to their normal brown with the black ring. End flashback. After that, the Hyuga stopped trying to kill Naruto. Sandame finished and sat back in his chair. Sakura and Ino looked at Naruto and saw his look of disbelief. Sakura, Ino and Iruka were surprised as well. They would never have believed that so much could happen to someone so young. So that's why. Okazen never said I should stay away from Naruto, instead she said I should play with him. But all the other parents said to stay away from Naruto. I understand why now. Sakura said and Ino nodded in agreement. Yeah, and never told me to stay away, but I did anyway. That was probably because Naruto was a boy though. Ino said. Yes Sakura, your mother, Rin, would never tell you to stay away from Naruto, since she is one of the few people to know exactly how that seal works. So now you have heard of Naruto's past. I hope that Wolf was right and that this will help the team. Sandame said and smiled. Iruka looked at the 3 genin and smiled as well. At least Sakura and Ino don't fear Naruto. That is a start at least. He thought. Then he noticed that Naruto was uncharacteristically silent. Anyo, if Sensei, Kakashi-san and Sakura-chan's mom took care of me when I was little, why don't I remember them much? All I remember is someone being nice to me when I was smaller. Shouldn't I remember them better? Naruto asked. Well, you had a loss of your memory when you were 6 because of an attack from a villager, so what you remember of them is probably blurry. And before you ask, the reason Wolf hasn't been a part of your life since then is because he has been on a mission. For the last 6 years he has been traveling the world, trying to find a relative of yours. He is returning later today. His search was sadly unsuccessful. Sandame said, and Naruto's eyes widened. He has traveled 6 years just to find me a family? He asked, and Sandame nodded. Understand, Naruto. Wolf cares for you like a big brother would. He wants you to be happy, and one day before your memory loss, you asked him if you had family. He told you he didn't know, but if you wanted he could go and search for them. Which he did. But now he is coming back. Sandame said, and Naruto nodded. When is Wolf Sensei going to be here? Ino asked. Sandame looked at the clock and looked at a scroll on his desk. About 2 hours from now. If you three don't have any other questions, then you are dismissed. Only, don't tell anyone about what has been said here, at least no one other than your parents. Sandame said, and Ino and Sakura nodded. We won't. We will keep Naruto's secret. They both said and smiled. Good. I am glad Naruto has such smart teammates. Sandame said, and the two girls looked slightly embarrassed that the Hokage praised them like that. Old man, could you tell us a bit more about Wolf Sensei? Naruto asked. Ino and Sakura also became curious about that, and Sandame shook his head while smiling. Alright, I will. As I said, I won't tell you his name, but I can tell you he is 7 years older than you. He was an orphan that was adopted by Yondaime-sama when Wolf was 2. All his life Wolf was trained. Yondaime-sama didn't often play favorite, but when Wolf graduated from the academy at age 5 and got on his team, Yondaime-sama couldn't help but train Wolf more than the rest of the team, since Kakashi and Rin both were Junins then, and would soon leave the team. For 2 years Wolf was trained by Yondaime-sama, and his growth was nothing short of spectacular. I have never seen such massive power growth, but it came at a cost. Sandame said and looked sad. What do you mean, Hokage-sama? Sakura asked. Wolf never experienced a childhood. He was constantly trained, either by Yondaime-sama, Kakashi, Rin, or Obito, Kakashi and Rin's teammates that were killed on a mission. Wolf never played much with other children, and he graduated at a younger age than most begin the academy now. Of course, those times were different, war always is, but still. That is part of the reason the academy doesn't allow anyone younger than 6 to enter the academy now. Children should be allowed to be children. Sandame said, and Iruka nodded in agreement. So, Wolf Sensei was trained by Yondaime-sama. But he was only trained by him for 5 years. That is not a long time. Sakura said, and Sandame nodded. I agree, but Wolf is special. He is what is known as a specialist. That means that he learns much faster than others, and with his hard work and dedication, he learned a lot from Yondaime-sama, who knew he had a dangerous job and he wanted Wolf to be able to grow even without him. So Yondaime-sama made several scrolls, I don't know how many, but he made at least 1 scroll each week from when he adopted Wolf to when he died. Those scrolls were full of training schedules, ninja theory, and all kinds of things. In short, Yondaime-sama has trained Wolf long after he died. Sandame explained and picked up the forbidden scroll of seals that Naruto had stolen the day before. This is the forbidden scroll of seals. Mizuki tricked Naruto into stealing it the day before yesterday, and Naruto learned from it. I don't know if you looked further into the scroll, but these are Junin levels at least. Wolf knows all these, including the last one, which is the sealing that Yondaime-sama used on Kyuubi. I don't even know how many wolves I know, but it is close to as many as I do, which is a lot. Sandame said and put away the scroll again. While he did that, Ino and Sakura glared at Naruto. What? He asked, and Sakura bonked him on the head. Stupid. Stealing a forbidden scroll, she said, and Ino joined in with a bonk of her own. Stop it, you two. Naruto was tricked by Mizuki, who tried to kill me. Naruto saved me and protected the scroll. There is no reason to bonk him, I already did. Iruka said, and Sakura and Ino nodded. Sandame chuckled at the exchange. Naruto hurriedly asked the next question that pooped into his mind. You said he fights with a mask on when he goes all out. Why? He asked. Sandame thought for a bit. A bit turned into a while. A while turned into a long while. I don't know exactly. I think it has something to do with his bloodline. His bloodline is, along with his natural mind, hard work and dedication, responsible for his power growth. I don't know much about it, but I know that when he is normal, his eyes are brown with a black ring around them. But when he fights, the brown in his eyes change to pale glowing blue. And when he is fighting at his full power, or is in great need, a white mask comes out of his face. The mask is different from what the Anbu wears. It is made out of bone, and looks like a wolf. It even has the teeth of a wolf. It truly makes him look frightening. Also, his chakra is different. When he is normal, it is like us, the blue fire. But when he has his eyes changed or his mask out, his chakra is different. It flows around him in the same color his eyes are. He shines like a blue sun when he isn't hiding it. The sight is actually very calming and comforting, as long as you aren't his opponent. Sandame finally said, and the three genin looked at each other. If you still wonder, why don't you ask him to show you when he gets here? Now, I have some work to do. I'll see you later, Sandame said. The three genin and one chunin nodded and left. Okay, I will try and help you see how a wolf's bloodline is active. It looks like how Ichigo from Bleach looks when he is fighting the captain from the 11th division and he is borrowing Zangetsu's power. There, now you know. Naruto, Sakura and Ino said goodbye to Iruka and walked towards Sakura's house. When they arrived, Naruto waved goodbye and was about to leave when Sakura grabbed his jacket. Sakura-chan, Naruto asked, turning to face his teammate. Okazen said that my teammates were welcome for dinner, so come on. One of those that saved your ass 12 years ago is making dinner. Why are you complaining? Sakura asked and Ino grinned at Naruto. She's a really good cook as well. Ino said. Naruto nodded and the three of them went into the house. I'm home, Sakura yelled when she and her two teammates entered the house. Good honey, I'm in the kitchen. Rin yelled back. Sakura, Naruto and Ino went into the kitchen and Naruto had to suppress a gasp. He immediately recognized the brown-haired woman who was currently busy making dinner. From the woman's brown hair, to the two rectangular stripes on her cheeks in her kind manner. He was sure that when she turned around, he would recognize her brown cheerful eyes as well. This was a woman that had taken care of him before, and he could clearly remember things she and a silver-haired man had done along with him, taking him out for ramen, letting him ride on their backs. Suddenly he also remembered a brown-haired boy along with the two. Naruto didn't know why, but just seeing Rin again had brought back some of the memories he had forgotten. Okazen, this is my team, Yamanaka Ino and Uzumaki Naruto. Sakura said and grinned when her mom dropped the knife she had been using to cut the vegetables. Rin spun around and looked at the three amused kids. Ino smiled and bowed. Hello Haruno-san, she said. Naruto bowed as well. Hello, he said and Rin smiled at them. Hello Ino-chan, Naruto-kun. Glad to see you again. Rin said before walking over to Naruto and giving him a hug. His eyes widened before hugging her back. Ino and Sakura looked at each other before smiling at the display. Okazen, is it true that you saved Naruto's life when he was about to be executed? Sakura asked. Rin's eyes widened. How did you know that? She asked, letting go of Naruto, who was rather reluctant to end the hug. Hokage-sama told us, after he told us about Kyuubi. So, is it true? Ino said and Rin nodded. Wow, I really had people that cared when I was smaller. Naruto said and Rin laughed. Of course we cared. Why wouldn't we? Rin asked, laughing slightly. Naruto didn't respond, instead he just looked happy. I'm really happy. Who's your sensei? Rin asked Sakura, when the four of them had sat down with the finished dinner. Sakura, Ino and Naruto grinned at each other. Oh, you are going to love this. But you will have to guess. Sakura said playfully. Rin thought for a bit. Kakashi. I know he said he was teaching this year. She asked, but Sakura shook her head. I don't know. Can you give me a hint? Rin asked, and Sakura thought for a bit. He knows about me and Kyuubi. Naruto said slyly. That, oh, you mean he knows that you and Kyuubi are two different beings? Rin asked, and Naruto nodded. Rin lapsed into another thoughtful silence. Oh, I give up. I was never any good at guessing anyway. Who is it? Rin said, looking dejected. Oh, alright. We don't know his real name though. Sakura said, and Rin's eyes widened in disbelief. No, not him. He is on a mission. She said, and Sakura grinned. If you are talking about the White Wolf, then he is coming back today. Just to be our sensei. Sakura said, and Rin blinked a few times. Wow. My daughter taught him. Sheesh. You'll be stronger than me in no time. She said playfully, faking annoyance. Is Wolf Sensei that good? Ino asked, and Rin nodded. Yeah, he is. I assume Hokage-sama told you he fought against Kyuubi. Rin asked, and the three kids nodded. Yeah, he was able to hold Kyuubi. Naruto said. You make it sound as if he was able to do it alone. There were about 100 ninjas helping him hold the Kyuubi off. True. His most powerful, Heaven Light, was able to rip off Kyuubi's leg, but it left him completely drained, and Kyuubi had by then already been damaged for a long time. I think the stories are a bit over-exaggerated, but still, for a 7-year-old that is unheard of. Rin said. They then ate in silence. Ino and Sakura were amazed that Naruto showed table manners instead of being a slob. Naruto, Sakura, Ino and Rin sat in the living room at the Haruno home, Rin telling stories about Wolf. So he turned to me and said, I don't think Kakashi will get up again. Perhaps you should heal him. I just shook my head and said, that's what he gets from reading that perverted book in front of me. The four of them laughed at that, thinking of how the famous copy Nin had almost died because he read some stupid book in front of Rin. I didn't think the famous copy Nin Kakashi was such a stupid pervert. Ino said. Oh, he's not stupid, just a pervert. Not as much as Jiraiya though, thank God, or else it would have been hell to be his teammate. Rin said, and Naruto was about to ask who Jiraiya was when Rin stiffened before she grinned widely. Well then, it seems your sensei is back in town. She said, and the three genin instantly sat to attention. You can feel his chakra? Sakura asked, and Rin nodded slowly. Well, I did when he let me just now, but now he has hit it again. But he is here, so I suggest we go to the Hokage and wait there. He will be sure to head home first, then report in, she said, and Naruto jumped into the air. Let's go, he yelled, pumped a hand into the air and rushed towards the door. He's excited about meeting his sensei, Rin said smilingly while following the blonde bundle of energy. Hey old man, Rin-ne-san said, Wolf Sensei is back in Konoha. Naruto yelled at the poor Hokage, who jumped in his seat. Behind Naruto, his team looked at Rin curiously. Why is Naruto calling you that? Sakura asked her mother, who chuckled at the question. It seems Naruto-kun is remembering a little from when he was younger. That was his nickname for me back then. Rin replied, and Ino and Sakura looked at Naruto, who were now speaking happily with Sandame. What about the two girls didn't know, but both Naruto and Sandame were smiling while Naruto described something while waving his hands in the air. The three girls felt strangely out of place, seeing Naruto and Sandame interact like that, and knowing that Naruto only had been able to talk like this with very few people. Then suddenly a knock came on the door. Instantly the room was silent, even Naruto shut up. Enter. Sandame commanded, and the door opened. In stepped a tall man, brown and golden hair, warm brown eyes, 3 scars on his cheek, a handsome face and a muscular build that could make many jealous. He wore the standard Junin uniform. The only exception was that he had a katana on his back and a shorter sword on his hip. Kunai and shuriken holders on each thigh, and 2 weapon pouches in his belt. The White Wolf had arrived. He looked around the room, smiled at Rin, Sakura, Ino and Naruto while he bowed at Sandaime. He started walking towards the Hokage's desk, but Rin hugged him first. Good to see you, she told him. Likewise. The reply came while he hugged her back. Wolf then took the rest of the steps towards the desk and placed a scroll there. Mission failure Hokage-sama, he said, and Sandaime nodded in understanding. I see. Very well. Welcome back. I assume you recognize your team, he said, and Wolf nodded before turning to the three genin. Yes. Hello Naruto, Sakura, Ino. It's good to meet you. I hope the four of us can work well together, he said. Naruto was about to say something when Sakura interrupted him. Uncle Tenshi, she asked in disbelief, and he nodded. Let me introduce myself. I am Tengoku Tenshi, also known as the White Wolf or Uncle Tenshi. I also remember Naruto calling me Tenshi began, but Naruto interrupted. Tenshi-asen, he said happily, and Tenshi nodded while smiling slightly. An can mean either old man or uncle. Which one he means is probably old man. Well, I'm glad you remembered a little bit. How are you two? Tenshi asked. Sakura grinned at him before she gromped him. I missed you, Uncle Tenshi, she said while hugging him tightly. Tenshi laughed and lifted Sakura into the air before him, looking her over. You've grown, kid, but your chakra is low. Are you training right? He asked, and Sakura blushed a little. Tenshi sat her down and picked up Naruto instead. Naruto tried to squirm out of the grip, but Tenshi didn't let go. My, you have a lot of energy, don't you? That's good, use that in training and you'll do just fine. But change those clothes. Why are you wearing an orange jumpsuit? Tenshi asked, and Naruto pouted. It was all the shopkeeper would give me. All the others just kicked me out, Naruto explained. Tenshi looked sad before placing Naruto back down. He then turned to Ino, who backed away a little. But Tenshi didn't try to pick her up, instead he held out his hand. Nice to meet you, Yamanaka Ino, he said, and Ino shook his hand. Nice to meet you, Sensei, she replied, giving him a smile. Tenshi gave her a gentle smile back before turning to Sandaime. Have you done as I suggested? Tenshi asked, and Sandaime nodded. Yes, they now know about Naruto and Kyuubi. I think they know some things about you as well now, like your glowing battle eyes. Sandaime said and smiled broadly when Tenshi looked a little surprised at that. He turned to his students and gave a mock glare. What do you know about me, he asked, and the three genin grinned. Ino took a step forward and entered lecture mode. Lecture mode being she placing her hands on her hips and leaning slightly towards Tenshi. We know that you are 7 years older than us, that you are an orphan adopted by Yondaime Hokage-sama, that you have been trained all your life, that you helped Yondaime-sama when he prepared his sealing, and that you fought Kyuubi when it attacked. We know that your growth was unheard of, that you became so skilled so fast that you never had time to be a kid. Ino said, took a step backwards, and Naruto stepped forward and mimicked Ino's lecture mode. We know that you were one of the first people to see me as Naruto and not Kyuubi. We know that you saved my life even when you were supposed to be in the hospital, that you were the one to give the clans that doubted the execution, strength and courage to stand against the council, the Uchiha and the Hyuga. We know that you stopped more assassination attempts on me than any other in Konoha, and that you have killed more assassins than the Anbu have arrested, and that you have killed and tortured more of the Hyuga clan than any other Konoha citizen. Naruto said, took a step back, and Sakura stepped forward, she was also in lecture mode. We know that you were on the same team as Okazen and Hatake Kakashi, even though they were much older than you. We know that you care much for those close to you, and are one of the best at piggyback rides. You were the first to teach me a chakra exercise. We also know that you are the strongest Junin in Konoha, Sakura said, and to empathize with the piggyback ride part, Rin jumped up on Tenshi's back, grinning widely. Tenshi stumbled a little but regained his balance fast. I also know that you turned down the offer to become the Godime Hokage, Sandaime said, and Tenshi nodded. I have no intention to become Hokage, since I don't want to protect all of Konoha. He said, and Naruto looked at him with big eyes. Why not? You are a Junin, right? Why won't you protect Konoha? He asked, and Tenshi looked at him with serious eyes. I protect those that I feel deserve it and my precious people. People who treat others with respect and don't hurt others without a good reason are worthy in my book. That is why I wanted Sandaime to tell Sakura and Ino about Kyuubi. If they saw you as Kyuubi, then they wouldn't be worthy of my protection, even though I look at Sakura as my niece. Most people in Konoha aren't worthy in my book, but some are. That is why I won't become Hokage. I would be the first Hokage to not protect his people. Tenshi said, and Naruto nodded slowly. Well then, I suppose I should take these kids to our training grounds and give them their genin test. Tenshi said, and Rin hopped on his back. Uncle Tenshi. We already passed the genin test. Sakura said. The three genin were really confused when Sandaime and Rin grinned at each other and Tenshi became serious. You passed the test that showed you have the potential to become genin, but now you have to convince me that I want to spend my time training you three. This test has a failure rate of 66%, which means there will be a maximum of 9 new genin this year. Now you three run home, get your ninja equipment and meet me at training area 7 in half an hour. Move. Tenshi said, and the three genin scrambled from the Hokage's office. You are evil sometimes. They clearly showed enough teamwork to pass, even though they haven't trained together at all. Rin said, and Tenshi chuckled. I know, I just want to know what I have to work on here. See you two later. Tenshi said and was about to leave when Rin stopped him. Come to dinner tomorrow, okay? She asked, and Tenshi nodded before vanishing in a blur. Tenshi reappeared in the training area designated to Team 7. He saw that another Junin was there and recognized him as Kakashi. The man stood by the memorial statue for the fallen Konoha shinobi. Tenshi walked up to him and just stood by his side in silence. A few minutes went by before Kakashi spoke. I knew you were back. Felt your chakra. Have you met your team yet? He asked, and Tenshi nodded. Hi. They live up to my expectations. They already passed the test before coming here. Sakura and Ino both accepted Naruto even though they now know about Kyuubi. Tenshi said, and Kakashi chuckled a little. I see. It's going to be interesting to see their progress. He said before turning to Tenshi. I have a proposition. He said, and instantly had Tenshi's attention. Shot. He replied. We train our teams together sometimes. Naruto and Sasuke are sort of rivals and will just push each other harder. Sakura and Ino both fight over Sasuke, and with him there they will work harder. Shikamaru and Choji are at least familiar with Ino and will probably be forced by the girl to work harder. And besides, 2 teachers are better than 1. Kakashi said, and Tenshi laughed. Kakashi, you are constantly late. I would end up teaching those kids alone. But you are right. Sort of, so I accept. 1 day a week we will train the kids together. If both teams have time, that is. But on those days, you have to be on time, or else, Tenshi said, the last bit threatening, and Kakashi shivered a bit before nodding. Deal. When is it best that we train together then? Kakashi asked. Saturdays. That's the day least likely we have any inter-village missions, so that would be most convenient. So, you passed your team then? Tenshi asked, and Kakashi shook his head. No, not yet. I was supposed to meet them 1.5 hours ago, but I have a feeling they will be a worthy enough team. Have you seen Rin? He asked, and Tenshi nodded. Yeah, she helped Sakura empathize that I give good piggyback rides. I was invited to dinner tomorrow, but didn't get to speak much with her. How is she? Tenshi asked, and Kakashi was saddened a little. Well, after you left, she and Sakura did okay, but it was a bit much for Rin. First she loses her husband against some missing nun, and then her little brother has to go on a several-year-long mission. But I suppose she has handled everything well, although she feels bad about not caring more for Naruto. After you left, we kind of left him to himself. Kakashi said, and rubbed his head in an embarrassed way. Tenshi glared at him before sighing. I can't really blame you either. Rin has Sakura, and the council refused to let her adopt Naruto. You have your missions. I guess we all left him to himself. I just have to make it up to him by training him to become the best ninja he can be. Tenshi said and Kakashi nodded. Well, I'm off to see my team. I'll be seeing you on Saturday. Kakashi said and poofed out. Tenshi turned to the stone and stood there, waiting for his team. The three genin found their sensei still staring at the memorial stone. When he sensed them behind him, he bowed to the stone before turning around and addressing them. This is the stone where the names of the heroes of Konoha are remembered. Tenshi said and Naruto got an excited look on his face. Literally bouncing, he proclaimed. Alright, I am going to be on that stone someday. He said confidently. That confidence fell right through him like a cold shower when he saw Tenshi's look. Sakura and Ino also saw the look and felt uneasy about it. Tenshi turned and lay a hand on the stone before speaking in a low, but very clear tone. This stone is to honor those that lost their lives in the service of Konoha. These people, these ninjas, mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, friends and lovers, gave their lives for Konoha and their precious people. Naruto, Sakura and Ino looked surprised at that, and Naruto had an additional look of horror over his face. Then Tenshi turned around with 5 bells in his hand. This is my bell test. It is different from the others. You have 5 hours. In those 5 hours you are to try and grab one of these bells. Those of you that don't get a bell when the time is up, get tied to one of those logs, Tenshi said and pointed to the 3 vertical logs behind the genin. The one that gets tied to the log won't get food and will be sent back to the academy. But there is a catch. Every hour I am going to destroy one of the bells. That means that in 3 hours, one of you will go to the log. Now I suggest you come at me with killer intent in order to do this. Tenshi finished his explanation and Naruto suddenly grabbed 2 shuriken and threw it towards Tenshi. Who was behind Naruto with the 2 shuriken in his left hand against Naruto's neck. Now, I didn't say, beggin' did I? But at least you tried to kill me. Tenshi said and Naruto, Sakura and Ino gulped at the speed he moved. I couldn't even see him. The 3 of them thought. Now begin. Tenshi said and the 3 genin were off. Sakura took off and ran in a wide circle around Tenshi, and hid on the other side of the clearing in a cluster of trees. She then gawked when she saw that Tenshi was meditating in the middle of the training area, an aura of calmness practically radiating from him. She saw the 5 bells gleam in his belt and began to think. Why 5 bells? Why 5 hours? Why destroy 1 bell each hour? Wait. With his speed, he can evade any attack we throw at him. He plans to dodge us for 3 hours so that we will become desperate to get a bell. This is all just a plot to set us against each other. I have to find Ino and Naruto. With that, Sakura left her hiding place and began searching for her teammates. She found Naruto, uncharacteristically sitting still, observing Tenshi. Huh, Naruto is quiet. What happened? Sakura thought and approached Naruto. Naruto, what happened? You're quiet and calm. Is something wrong? Sakura asked and Naruto shook his head. I have got my memory back. He just said. Sakura winced. That's got to involve some very painful memories. She thought. And I remembered when Tenshi-Asen and Rin-Ne-san and Aro Kakashi were playing with me. They taught me, under the disguise of a game, how to be stealthy. When we played tag, they taught me how to observe my opponent before striking. I remember it all now. Seeing Tenshi-Asen talk in front of that stone must have triggered the memories or something. Naruto said and looked at Sakura. Sakura winced again at his eyes. They looked happy but horrified at the same time. Sakura-chan, I remember so much hate, and so much care. Konoha hates me, Tenshi-Asen, Rin-Ne-san, Aro Kakashi, Iruka Sensei, the people at Ichiraku Ramen and Old Man Hokage cares about me. It's so strange. Before it seemed everything before Tenshi-Asen left was blank, but now I remember everything, I think. Naruto said, his tone very serious. Sakura smiled at him. Well then, if that is good then I am happy for you Naruto. Also I think I and Ino care about you as well. As teammates and perhaps friends. Sakura said and chuckled at Naruto's uplifted look. Really? He asked and Sakura nodded. Wow, thank you Sakura-chan. What is Ino doing? Naruto said. Sakura whirled around to see Ino rushing towards Tenshi. Shit, she doesn't understand the meaning of this. Sakura cursed and Naruto looked at her. The meaning? He asked and Sakura nodded. The reason there are 5 bells in 5 hours is to make us sweat and become desperate to get a bell. When 3 hours have gone, one of us goes to the log. Neither of us wants that, so we have to get a bell. What the true purpose is to get us to work together and get 3 bells that way. It's all a trick to fool us. Sakura explained and Naruto was tempted to praise her loudly before he remembered they were supposed to hide. Wow Sakura-chan, you really are smart. I would never have figured that out. Naruto said with awe in his voice, making Sakura blush slightly. Well, we have to help Ino. Come on, she commanded and they headed towards their now struggling teammate. Ino had also hid in some trees, watching her sensei. But unlike Sakura, she didn't think too much about what Tenshi had said. All she knew was that she needed to get a bell and she wanted it fast. If she didn't then she would go back to the academy and Sasuke would never proclaim his love for her. So she did the only thing she could think of. She rushed towards Tenshi as silently as she could. The trouble was that when she reached him, Tenshi was gone. She looked around for any sign of him, but saw none. Then suddenly she was grabbed around her legs and pulled underground so that only her head remained over ground. Doden. Inner decapitation no, Tenshi said as he reappeared in front of Ino. Crouching down he looked her in the eye and sighed. I don't think you understood the meaning of this exercise. He said and Ino glared at him. What do you mean? She asked angrily. Tenshi smirked. Not telling you. He said smugly and Ino glared before she pouted and refused to look at him. Shaking his head, Tenshi stood up and vanished. Just as he did, Naruto and Sakura came to the rescue. Ino, we have to work together to do this. Sakura said and while she and Naruto helped Ino out and explained everything to her, including Naruto's recent memory return, Tenshi was right next to them, undetected and under an invisibility. He smiled when he heard that Sakura had understood the meaning right away, almost chuckled when Naruto told them about his games with the 3 caretakers of his when he was younger. The 3 caretakers being Tenshi, Rin and Kakashi, or as Naruto called him, Arrow Kakashi. Pervert Kakashi I think. Well, this will be interesting. Let's see how they take this. Tenshi thought, unsheathed his katana and dropped it. I've got you now, he yelled. The 3 genin whirled around to see him with raised katana, ready to strike. Naruto and Sakura froze, but Ino reacted instinctively and threw 3 shuriken at Tenshi. They hit him and a cloud of smoke and a poof later they saw he had used Kawarimi. Damn, he scared me. Sakura said silently and Naruto nodded. He looked at his hand and shook it. Didn't think I would freeze like that on my first encounter with a dangerous situation. He said and the girls could hear he was angry at himself. Ino laid a hand on Naruto's shoulder. Naruto, if you want to be helpful, you have to promise yourself not to freeze like that again. Or else I am going to kick your ass. She said and Naruto looked at her with fear in his eyes. Damn, she's scary, he thought before nodding. I won't freeze like that again. He said and Ino nodded, grinning broadly. Now let's get those bells. Sakura said and the 3 of them nodded at each other. Meanwhile, Tenshi was watching his students closely, again. This time he was in a tree, uncamouflaged and was just waiting to be found. After a while of watching the kids plan, he looked up at the sky, or rather, the sun and calculated that 1 hour had gone past. Time flies and all that. I guess that's 1 bell down then. He thought. took out one of the bells and crushed it silently. No need to tell the kids that they had 4 hours left. Let them figure it out themselves. It was then he noticed that something was off with Naruto, Sakura and Ino. They looked tense. His eyes widened when he felt movement below him. Oh shit, he said and jumped from the tree. When he landed, the tree was engulfed in an explosion, probably from exploding tags. He looked around, but didn't see either of his students. Now where did they go? He said to himself and looked around again. Sakura had gotten an idea after seeing Tenshi in a tree. She made Naruto prepare to use Kage Bunshin and henge when Tenshi looked away. It took a while, but finally Tenshi looked up to the sky and Naruto went into action. 3 puffs of smoke later and the fake Naruto, Sakura and Ino stood there, and the real ones rushed around the tree Tenshi sat in. They placed exploding tags on the tree and rushed away. They heard an, oh shit. And the explosion went off. They hid in some bushes after that, looking at their sensei, who looked a little singed. We have to do this fast. Tenshi-asen isn't serious yet, but he will be soon. We have to get those bells now. Naruto whispered and Sakura nodded. Hi, I agree. Uncle's eyes aren't even blue yet. Any ideas? Sakura asked but Naruto shook his head. Ino grinned and turned to the other two. Hey, I have one. Naruto and Forehead Girl, you two occupy Tenshi-sensei while I prepare my Shintention no. If I get him with that, I can give you 2 bells and we will pass. Ino said excitedly. Sakura glared at the nickname, but nodded anyway. Okay, let's go. Naruto said and he and Sakura moved towards Tenshi. Tenshi was still looking around. Suddenly he found 2 of his students. Naruto and Sakura were rushing towards him. Both were using either Kage Bunshin Naruto or Bunshin Sakura. 5 Narutos and 5 Sakuras, Naruto slightly in front of Sakura. Tenshi decided to see what they had planned, and blocked Naruto's attacks. The 5 Narutos came in waves after each other, 2 of them landing punches and kicks on Tenshi. He was about to block another of Naruto's attacks when he saw Sakura. All 5 of her had her fist raised and right before she reached him, 4 of the Sakuras poofed away and a rather painful hit was landed. Tenshi flew back a little, while wondering when Sakura became so strong. He got up and was about to ask something when he felt something enter his body and he discovered he didn't have any control over his body. He soon figured out what happened when Ino's voice came out of his mouth. Success. Take that, Forehead Girl. Now Sasuke-kun will have to recognize my greatness. Ino cheered and Tenshi mentally rolled his eyes. Sakura just huffed and held out her hand. Just give us the bells so we can pass this thing, Ino pig. She said and Ino glared before handing over the remaining 4 bells to Sakura. After that she left Tenshi's body and returned to her own. Tenshi groaned as he regained control of his body before he looked at his students. All of them wore huge grins and 1 bell each. Well, Sakura had 2. Tenshi smiled before beginning to clap. Very good. Excellent teamwork. To trap me like that, really excellent. I expect the same kind of teamwork from the 3 of you on missions as well. Tenshi said and the 3 genin beamed with pride. Now if you excuse me, I have to report to Hokage-sama about how everything went. See you. Tenshi said and faded out like a mirage. The 3 genin stared a bit at where he had been moments before, until they turned around and started walking back to the village. Suddenly Tenshi reappeared in front of Ino, making said girl jump with a squeak. I forgot to tell you to meet me at this training ground at 8 in the morning. See you. Tenshi said and vanished again, completely ignoring Ino, who was clutching her chest, gasping for breath while Sakura and Naruto howled with laughter at Ino's expression. Her response was to pout and walk away, vowing to get back at her sensei. The next day, Team 7 met at the training ground. Tenshi was waiting for the 3 of them with 3 bags. When Naruto, Sakura and Ino stood in front of him, he smiled before throwing one of the bags to Naruto. Naruto caught it and was instantly floored by it. The process repeated itself until Sakura and Ino also lay on the ground, their hands around their own, very heavy bag. In those bags you will find weights. Put those on, Tenshi said while smiling at his students. They glared at him but did as he said. The weights didn't seem much, just like ordinary wristbands and leg warmers, all in black with a white wolf on them. That white wolf is my insignia, my clan's symbol. It's on your weights because these weights were made by my family. Right now they each weigh 20 pounds. That will really slow you down. As you three grow stronger, you will have to pump chakra into the weights, increasing their weight. That will serve three purposes. The first is to make you stronger and faster. The second is to increase your chakra capacity. The third is to increase your chakra control. Why do we need chakra control? We can already do it, Naruto said, having put on his weights and was now in a slouched over position, trying to deal with the weight. Right now, when you use it you waste a lot of chakra. That can be deadly in a battle. Sometimes it is the ninja with the best control and stamina that wins the battle. Understand, Naruto, that even if you have huge chakra capacity, it is not infinite. If you continue to waste chakra while doing so, you will never be able to become a good ninja. Also, the better control you have, the easier it is to do. Now stop complaining and get moving. I want you three to run 40 laps around this training area while punching the air in front of you, Tenshi commanded. Naruto groaned but began to run. Ino and Sakura, however, didn't. They glared at Tenshi. It's too heavy. We can't move, Sakura said, and Ino nodded. How am I supposed to run with 80 extra pounds on my body? Ino asked, and Tenshi sighed. Naruto, listen to this as well, Tenshi yelled, and Naruto came walking over, slowly. Use chakra to make your body stronger. Put chakra on your back to be able to stand straight. Put chakra in your legs to be able to run, and put chakra in your arms to be able to punch the air in front of you. Now get moving. We are not leaving until you three have done this, Tenshi said, and the three genin groaned before using the ram seal and gathering chakra to the body parts Tenshi spoke of. They then started to do the exercise. Tenshi saw that Sakura was the one with the best control, since she kept her chakra where she wanted it. Sakura was running a little awkwardly, but getting better. She also was trying to punch the air in front of her. Ino was close behind. She had less control, but apparently she was stronger than Sakura, pure physically at least. The two of them did surprisingly well for their first try. Tenshi smiled when he thought about how strong they would become. Then he looked at Naruto and groaned. Naruto had horrible chakra control, and was using almost no chakra to move. Still, he was actually moving better than both Sakura and Ino, indicating that he was a lot stronger than them. He actually managed to run straight and punch the air in front of him, but Tenshi saw that he was getting tired. I'm really tired. Deciding to boost their spirit, Tenshi pumped chakra into his own weights and ran next to them, mimicking their exercise. This continued for 3 hours. All three of the genin were dead tired and had a lot of bruises and cuts on them from falling so many times. Surprisingly, it was Naruto that had become accustomed to the weights first, even if he didn't use chakra to move. After him, Sakura followed, and then Ino. They now moved much better, although not like they would without the weights. Man, how long until we don't feel the weights anymore? Naruto moaned, and Tenshi chuckled. I estimate 3 days of this until you three will be able to move normally. But you have shown real good improvement and adaptation to the weights. But Naruto, I think you should try using chakra to move, Tenshi said, and both Ino and Sakura stared at Naruto, who blinked a little. I wasn't using chakra, he just asked, and Tenshi, Sakura and Ino's sweat dropped. No you weren't. But sit down and rest for a bit now. I would suggest going to sleep a bit, since the body rests best when asleep, Tenshi said, and the three genin nodded reluctantly before laying down under some trees. Tenshi sat down in a meditative stance and calmed himself. His senses stretched out, making him feel like he was part of the very nature around him. The sounds and smells were nice for him, life was soothing. He was completely aware of what happened around him, from the steady, even breath of his students, to the singing of some birds in the trees, to the burrowing of a mole under the ground. After a while, Naruto stirred and sat up, rubbing his eyes. He looked around and saw Tenshi still meditating. Naruto groaned as he got up and walked over to Tenshi, who didn't move the slightest. Naruto sat down in front of his sensei and sighed. "What is Naruto?" Tenshi asked curiously. "I want to learn better chakra control." Naruto replied and a smile crossed Tenshi's face. "All right then, I'll teach you. First mimic my position," he said and Naruto complied. This is called the lotus position, and is used while meditating. I'm not going to teach you that yet. What I want you to do is mold your chakra and make it cover your entire body. Tenshi said and Naruto stared at him. What? Naruto asked. He didn't have a clue what Tenshi meant. Okay. Listen well. Imagine your chakra to be like your bed sheet. You are hanging upside down from the roof and are cold. You want to use your bed sheet to keep warm, but the bed sheet slips off your body and onto the ground. In order to keep warm, you have to keep the bed sheet on your body. It is the same with chakra. When you want to use chakra to make your feet stronger, you have to keep the chakra in your feet. What I meant by covering your body with chakra is that you should have your chakra everywhere in your body at the same time. Watch. Tenshi said and suddenly the top of his head glowed blue. The blue spread downwards from the head, but didn't dissipate. After a few minutes, Tenshi's whole body was glowing and Naruto was staring. Then the glow disappeared. That is what I want you to do now, Naruto. Begin with your head. Make your chakra move to your head and cover the head. Then start to make your chakra cover more of your body until all of your body is glowing like mine did. To do so, you have to make the chakra stick to your body. It will take some tries, but I am confident you can make it work. Now let me tell you the benefits of this exercise. First, your control improves significantly. Second, your chakra will rejuvenate your cells, taking away the strain your training has put them under. That will make your muscles heal and you will be refreshed. You could call this a healing exercise, since in a way you are healing your entire body. This exercise was developed by a great medic called Tsunade. She uses it every day to stay young. Now, begin, Tenshi said and Naruto nodded. He wondered briefly how Tenshi was able to see him with his eyes closed but shrugged it off and started making his chakra cover his head. It was hard work, and his brow was furrowed in concentration. Naruto was starting to become pissed off. Half an hour had passed and he hadn't been able to make his chakra cover more than his face before dissipating. Tenshi could sense what was wrong. It had to do with the bastard fox. Naruto, I want to try something. Tenshi said. Naruto was about to ask what when he saw Tenshi clasp his hand over his face. Naruto tried to get away, but then everything went black. When Naruto became conscious again, he found himself in a dank hallway with lots of pipes on the ceiling. He was also ankle deep in water. Looking around, he found Tenshi. Damn it! What did you do to Tenshi-san? Naruto yelled, shaking his fist at the man. I took you into your mind. We are going to see the bastard fox now. Tenshi replied and Naruto felt silent. You mean go see him? He asked and Tenshi nodded before beginning to walk. I noticed that the reason you couldn't control your chakra well was because Kyuubi's chakra would battle your own. We are here to fix that, Tenshi said and Naruto hurried after. They walked in silence for a while until they came to a huge room with a cage in it. The cage had a seal on it where it simply stood, seal. Naruto walked towards the gates, he could see something behind it. Then suddenly claws shoot out of the bars, but Tenshi got Naruto out of the way. Naruto was pissed. Damn you bastard fox. Is that a way to treat your visitors? Naruto yelled. Kyuubi came closer to the cage and looked down on the two. Its eyes burned when he saw Tenshi. Why are you here? Come to gloat? Kyuubi asked Tenshi, who shook his head. No, I am here to make you a deal. Tenshi said, and both Naruto and Kyuubi looked at him. What deal? What deal? They both asked in perfect unison. Your chakra is battling against Naruto's. I know you are responsible for that. Stop that and allow Naruto to get control over his chakra without you interfering. Also, when he needs it, give him chakra, but don't try to take over his mind. I will detect it, and believe me, I can make some unpleasant changes to that cage of yours. Tenshi said, and Kyuubi roared with laughter. Why should I help a brat like that? Why should I do what you say? Kyuubi asked, and Naruto became pissed. Damn fox. I let you live inside my body, and you don't even pay rent. Instead of rent, I want you to do what Tenshi-san said. Naruto demanded. A few moments went past before Kyuubi was rolling around on the floor of his cage, howling with laughter. Tenshi-san, that was a good kid. Do you have other names I should know about, Wolf? Kyuubi asked Tenshi, who huffed a little. Sakura calls me Uncle Tenshi. And shut up, he yelled when Kyuubi roared with laughter. After a little while, Kyuubi calmed down from laughter to snickers. Oh, that was good. All right, brat. I will do as Wolf says, on one condition. Kyuubi demanded. What condition? I'm not letting you loose if that's what you want. Naruto asked, and Kyuubi rolled his eyes. I already knew that. I want to be able to talk to you. It gets terribly lonely here, and even demons want to talk to others. Also, I want you two to sign my summoning scroll. Kyuubi explained, and Naruto looked thoughtful. You mean I'm going to have a voice in my head all the time? He asked, and Kyuubi nodded. Naruto turned to Tenshi. What do you think? He asked, and Tenshi closed his eyes. That is up to you. If you do this, then Kyuubi can talk to you at all times. That could be a good thing, but also a bad thing. He could try to make you insane, although I think you will be able to withstand it. But that summoning scroll sounds suspicious. Tenshi said, and Naruto looked at the fox. All right, bastard fox, answer my questions and I might do as you asked. Naruto demanded. What is it, brat? Kyuubi asked. First, if I allow you inside my head, what will you do there? Naruto asked. What do you think? I will talk to you, see what you see, and hear what you hear. I can help you on missions, and if you prove yourself worthy, I can train you. As for Wolf's fear of me making you insane, you won't have to worry. If the villagers haven't already done that, then I won't either. It is of no interest to me that my vessel becomes insane. Neither is it that it is weak. It will be like having a constant companion inside your head. Neither of us will ever be alone again. Kyuubi said, oddly serious. Naruto nodded before deciding on his second question. What's up with that summoning scroll? Will we like to summon you? Naruto asked, and Kyuubi nodded. Yeah, if you sign the scroll, then you can summon foxes. If you summon the fox boss, you summon me. Although I will still be connected to you, and when I would normally vanish back to the summoning plane, I will come back here. Kyuubi said, and Naruto looked at Tenshi. Is that alright? Naruto asked, and Tenshi nodded. I see no problems with that, as long as Kyuubi does what we say when we summon him. You will do that, right? Tenshi asked, and Kyuubi nodded, although he didn't look too happy. Of course, after all, I am a fox, and we never go back on our word. If I say I will allow you to summon me, I will allow you to summon me, and I won't attack you. At least I know that you two can summon me when you have signed the scroll. The last person to summon me was not someone I approved of. But I couldn't go against what he ordered me to do. Kyuubi said, a little sadness crossing his features. What are you talking about? Tenshi asked, and Kyuubi looked at him. When I attacked Konoha, I was summoned by someone in a black cloak with red clouds on. He told me to attack Konoha, and since he was my summoner, I had to do it. Although I made sure he could never summon me again. Kyuubi said, and both Naruto and Tenshi were really surprised. You didn't attack out of your own will? Tenshi asked, and Kyuubi shook his head. No, I didn't. But don't get the wrong idea. I enjoyed killing all those ninjas, once the bloodlust got the better of me. Kyuubi said, and Tenshi stared at him. Naruto seemed to make up his mind. Tenshi-san, did you see if Kyuubi lied? Naruto asked, and Tenshi shook his head. No, he didn't lie. He told the truth, if I ever saw it. Tenshi said, and Naruto nodded before walking up to the cage. Alright, fussball. I'm Uzumaki Naruto. Nice to meet you. Naruto said and held out his hand towards Kyuubi, who stared at him before extending one of his paws. Naruto grasped one of Kyuubi's claws and a very bizarre version of shaking hands occurred. I am Kyuubi no Kitsune, the greatest of the demons. Nice to meet you too, brat. Kyuubi said, and Naruto glared a little before turning to Tenshi. Tenshi-san, I agree to all of Kyuubi's terms. Can you make the changes? He asked, and Tenshi nodded. Kyuubi turned a little away before turning back and placing a scroll at Naruto's feet. The summoning scroll. Sign your name in blood. Kyuubi commanded. Both Naruto and Tenshi did so. When they were finished, the scroll vanished. I will teach you summoning after you master the chakra exercise, Naruto. Now for the last part of the deal. Tenshi said and turned to the seal. He did something, and both Naruto and Kyuubi felt a little weird for a moment. There. Now you two should be able to talk all the time. Tenshi said, and Naruto looked at him. How come I don't hear him in my head then? He asked, and both Tenshi and Kyuubi fell over in surprise. Because you are in your own mind now, brat. When you become conscious again, we can talk. Stupid human. Kyuubi growled. Naruto growled right back. Alright, you two. It's time we got back, Naruto. Bye, bastard fox. Tenshi said, and he and Naruto faded away. Kyuubi sighed and laid down on the ground. Alone again. At least I can talk to the brat now. Perhaps Wolf isn't so bad after all. Kyuubi said to himself before he felt weird again, and could see that Naruto had woken up. Naruto felt weird when he woke up, and could swear he felt another presence in his mind. Stupid. That's me, brat. Kyuubi said, and Naruto grinned a bit. Oh, right. I forgot. Hello, bastard fox. He said, and Kyuubi sighed. Okay. First of all, stop with the bastard fox. My parents were married when they got me. Thank you very much. Also, you can talk with me by thinking. I can hear your thoughts now. It would look stupid if you were to talk to yourself all the time. Kyuubi said, and Naruto nodded. Alright. So what do I call you? Nah. I don't bother to make up anything. I'll just call you a fussball then. Naruto thought with a grin. Kyuubi trashed a bit before calming down. I guess there are worse names. Now, what exercise was Wolf talking about? Kyuubi asked. I'll show you. Naruto thought and began cowering himself in chakra again. This time, however, it went much easier, and after 4 tries he got it right. Wow. Tenshi-san. I did it. Naruto yelled, and Tenshi smiled at him. Good, Naruto. Very good. Now keep the chakra over your body for a while. Tenshi said, and Naruto did as he was told. Now, let the chakra flow out through your feet. Tenshi said, and when he did, Naruto felt refreshed. Wow, it worked. I'm as good as new. Naruto said while getting up. Good work. Now I am going to teach you about summoning. Now, summoning is a very high rank skill, so I want you to keep it as a triumph card. Don't show off your best moves. Always keep your best moves hidden until you really need them. Now, I am going to summon them. Watch. Tenshi said, did some seals, bit his thumb and slammed his hand on the ground. No, Tenshi said, and a cloud of smoke covered him. When the cloud vanished, he stood on a fox the size of a horse. Who summoned me? The fox asked. I did, Tenshi said, and jumped off. The fox looked at him before it bowed. I see. What is your name, summoner? It asked. My name is Tengoku Tenshi, and this is Uzumaki Naruto, who is also able to summon foxes. Tenshi said, and the fox nodded. I am Tenku. Nice to meet you. The fox, now known as Tenku, said. Well then, I just wanted to see how much chakra I should use to summon. Can you tell me how much more chakra I would need to summon Kyuubi? Tenshi asked, and Tenku thought for a bit. About twice as much, was the reply, and Tenshi nodded. Thank you for your time. Tenshi said. Tenku nodded and vanished in a poof of smoke. Tenshi turned to Naruto. Here are the seals. Tenshi said and performed the seals slowly. When you have done the seals, use your hand and some blood and perform the summoning. You always have to use blood in order to make the summoning work. Or else you will just be wasting chakra. Now you try. Tenshi said, and Naruto nodded before performing the seals, biting his thumb and slamming the hand down into the ground. No! Naruto yelled and a cloud of smoke came. There sat a little fox kit. It meowed at Naruto and curled up on his lap. Naruto was a little embarrassed that he didn't summon a bigger fox. Kyuubi was roaring with laughter in his mind. Tenshi, however, was happy. Good work, Naruto. That was your first summoning. Good work. I want you to summon again. Use more chakra. The more chakra and better molded, the bigger and stronger fox appears. But don't think that kit isn't useful. Smaller summons can be used for scouting, bringing messages and stuff like that. The bigger ones are useful for fighting, but as a ninja we should never aim to fight. Remember, Naruto, a good ninja is undetected and will only fight when absolutely necessary. Now practice your summon for a while, okay? Tenshi asked, and Naruto nodded before getting up and summoning another fox. Ino and Sakura awoke to hear someone practicing. They saw Naruto do something, but before they could see what it was, Tenshi sat down in front of them. Naruto is practicing as I taught him. Now I am going to teach you something. He said and began to teach them the chakra control exercise he taught Naruto. Both Ino and Sakura got the exercise on their third or fourth try, much faster than Naruto. When they had perfected the exercise, they were both very happy. Tenshi was amazed that they got it that fast. Wow, you two have talent. It took Naruto much longer to do that. Now over to something different. I don't know which to teach you two yet. In my opinion, you both have too small chakra reserves. While I check on Naruto, I want you two to do 30 push-ups, 30 squats, 30 sit-ups, punch those logs 30 times with each arm and kick the logs 30 times with each leg. Get moving, please. Tenshi said, and the two girls groaned but complied while Tenshi went over to Naruto. Naruto was tired. More tired than he had ever been. Not only were the weights making it difficult for him to move, but the chakra used to summon a decent fox was huge. Naruto was currently laying on the ground, trying to regain his breath. You were a good kid. I'm actually impressed. At this speed you will master summoning in about a week. Faster if Wolf helps you. Kyuubi praised, and Naruto noticed something. Why do you always call Tenshi Asen for Wolf? Naruto asked. Kyuubi chuckled in response. Because he is a wolf. He can summon wolves as his natural summon. And he almost turns into a wolf when he fights. Also, he is called that by you humans as well. Kyuubi replied. Natural summon? What do you mean? Naruto asked. Natural summoning is the summoning that takes the least amount of chakra from the summoner, and also comes much easier. You fight better together with your natural summoning than others. Wolf's natural summon is the wolves. Your natural summon is foxes. Why Wolf's natural summons are wolves I don't know, probably because of his abilities. The reason foxes are your natural summons is because of me. Now, do you have any more questions? Kyuubi asked. Just one. What's up with the kit? Naruto asked, but all he received was a chuckle. Then Naruto noticed Tenshi looking at him. Well, Naruto, seems you have exhausted yourself. Do you now understand why you need more chakra control? Tenshi asked, and Naruto nodded. I summoned a fox that was just as big as a wolf. But now I don't have any chakra left. How do I get more control? Naruto asked. First you have to sleep for a bit so your chakra recovers. Kyuubi, can you heal him while he sleeps? Tenshi asked, and Naruto looked at Tenshi in surprise. You can, hear him out of his good skin. Baka. I said focus on one thing. You aren't focusing enough on your breathing. Push away all other thoughts, feelings and actions. Focus only on breathing in and out. In and out. Kyuubi growled and Naruto nodded and gave it a second try. This time when the annoyance came, Naruto crushed it and focused on breathing in and out. After a few minutes Naruto felt a calmness spread over him. He thought it was something bad and increased his efforts in focusing on his breathing. Slowly, the calm went away and Kyuubi growled. Kit, you almost entered the meditative state, but cancelled it when you focused too hard on breathing. That calmness is the meditative state, the goal with all of this. Now try again, brat. Kyuubi growled. Naruto was about to retort, but thought better of it and tried again. This time the annoyance didn't come and when he felt the calm spread, he allowed it. The result was instant. Naruto felt more calm than ever. He could feel his heart beat, feel his breath, feel his blood flow. He could hear the birds sing, the leaves rustle. But he could also see something, even though his eyes were closed. Something blue moving around his body. Also sometimes he would see some red accompany the blue. The blue is your chakra. The red is my chakra. And before you wonder, no, the two chakras aren't fighting, instead they are mixing. That is what gives you the fast healing you have. That is why you can work so hard without feeling the after effects to the same extent your teammates will. The reason Wolf wanted you to learn to meditate was so that you would see this. See how your chakra flows around your body. When you use your chakra moves in a specific pattern. This pattern is what makes the work. The same goes for when you use chakra for other things as well. For example, do the refreshing technique and see. Kyuubi instructed. Naruto formed the seal for the ram and was amazed when he saw how the chakra first moved when he formed the seal and then how it flowed around his body. Now focus your chakra in your feet, Kit. See how it is. Kyuubi said. Even if he didn't tell Naruto, he was impressed. To be able to hold the meditative state so easily so fast is very good. Hey, this kid holds potential alright. Kyuubi thought to himself. Then both Naruto and Kyuubi noticed Tenshi, Sakura and Ino come back. Tenshi looked at Naruto for a moment before telling Sakura and Ino something. Moments later Naruto felt their chakra move and cover them. He understood they used the refreshing technique. Moments later he felt Tenshi crouch in front of him. Naruto stopped the meditation and looked at Tenshi. That was, it felt, Naruto began, but couldn't find words. Nice. Tenshi asked and Naruto nodded. Yeah, but it was cool too. I could see my chakra. Naruto yelled and jumped up. Tenshi groaned and rubbed his ears. No need to yell at Naruto. But yes, it is really cool. Tenshi said smilingly. Kyuubi, how deep was he? Tenshi then asked. Huh, what do you mean? Naruto asked and both Kyuubi and Tenshi chuckled. He wasn't very deep. He couldn't sense much around him, but his hearing increased. But with practice he should be able to enter deeper states. Kyuubi reported and Tenshi nodded. Will someone tell me what's going on? Naruto yelled. Take it easy. We mean that the better you are at meditating, the deeper you go. The deeper you go, the more aware you become and the more relaxing it is for the body. Deep enough and you won't need sleep either. Although it does not mean you should stop sleeping if you reach that level. Tenshi explained and Naruto nodded slowly. Anosa, will I reach that level? Naruto asked. Perhaps. Perhaps, were the replies. Then Tenshi stood up and pointed to the tree Naruto climbed. Come on, try again, he said. Naruto nodded and stood up. Forming the ram seal again, he ran towards the tree and went up it. This time he did much better, nearly reaching Sakura and Ino's current max. Wow, that's a huge improvement. Soon he will be ready for the water walk. Tenshi thought and pride welled up in him. Oh, time to check on the girls. He thought and headed over to Sakura and Ino. They were still using the refreshing technique. Tenshi sat down in front of them and closed his eyes. Entering his standard meditative state, he saw how much chakra they had left. Ino and Sakura looked at him questionably but didn't say anything. Girls, go back to tree climbing please. Tenshi suddenly said. Ino and Sakura got to their feet and looked at Tenshi, waiting for him to get up. Finally Ino got enough. Hey, Sensei, get up. Aren't you going to watch? She asked. I am watching. Now get moving, Tenshi ordered. Sakura and Ino shrugged and moved to their tree. Starting to climb, both felt how tired they were, but also it seemed strangely easy to climb. They didn't realize their chakra lasted half a meter further up than usual. When they landed, they stared in disbelief at the tree. See, even when you are exhausted from all that running, you manage to improve. This is what it means to train. To push past limits. You two understand? Tenshi asked, and Sakura and Ino whirled around to stare at him. He hadn't moved at all, sitting in the same position on the same spot. Uncle? Sakura asked. Tenshi still didn't move, but she got the impression that he was amused. I am in my meditative state. In this state, I have heightened senses. I can see you even with my eyes closed. Perhaps I will teach you two how to meditate soon. Naruto already knows it, Tenshi explained, and the girls looked over and saw that Naruto was closing in on them. How did he improve so much? Ino asked. Because he learned how to meditate, and he saw how his chakra moves. That showed him how to move chakra correctly. That is a big part of what control is. Knowing how chakra moves. Yes, I have to teach you two how to meditate. Alright, come here, Tenshi said. The girls turned from Naruto and walked over to their still meditating sensei. Sit. And they did. Crossing their feet like Tenshi had, they paid full attention to him. Meditation is something that is very useful. I won't explain what it is, since I believe you two are so smart you would do better by discovering yourself. Tenshi said, and the girls glared at him. Lazy uncle. Sakura mumbled, but Tenshi ignored her. Here is what I will tell you. When meditation, you focus on either one thing or nothing at all. Although I focus on one thing, there are those that clear their mind completely when they meditate. And before you ask, there is no better way, and there is no requirement for what to focus on. But it has to be something soothing. Meditation puts you in a trance-like state that, when used properly, serves its purpose perfectly. Now I want you two to try it. Remember, focus on only one thing. When you do it properly, you will feel a calmness spread over you. Allow that to come, but all other thoughts don't belong in meditation. Tenshi explained. Sakura and Ino nodded before thinking about one thing. Surprisingly the same thing, namely Sasuke. Tenshi noticed right away, since their heat beats increased. You two didn't listen. Something relaxing. That means not Sasuke. Think of the nature around you, or your breathing. Tenshi said, and both girls were asleep when he said that. Sakura then thought about the things around her. The sound of the wind, of the birds. She found that it calmed her more than she thought it would. She soon felt the calmness that Tenshi spoke of spread, and she allowed it. When it spread over her whole body and mind, she suddenly found she could hear much better, smell much better. She felt her chakra and saw how it moved. Ino on the other hand focused on breathing evenly. She too felt the calmness spread, but an image of Sasuke throwing shuriken invaded her thoughts and disrupted her focus. Try again, Ino, Tenshi said, and Ino nodded. It took Ino 2 more tries until she entered the meditative state. Tenshi then let both of them stay that way for a while, watching them rebuild their chakra reserves. 1 hour after Ino entered her meditative state, Tenshi's voice brought them both back. It's time to work again, he said, and Ino and Sakura opened their eyes to see Tenshi smiling brightly at them. But well done both of you. I am proud of you, he said, and helped them rise. That was an amazing sensei. I could hear so much. Ino said. Me too. And I saw how my chakra moved. Sakura said, and Tenshi nodded. That's good. Then you should both know how to move your chakra, if only a little better. Now, I am going to let you try one more time before going home, he said, and pointed to their trees. Sakura and Ino nodded and ran over to their trees and ran up. Tenshi looked up and smiled as they both passed by the points they had stopped at before and reached the top. When they started to fall, He ran up and caught them both. Laying them down on the ground, he smiled even wider. See, you did it. Both of you reached the top. Excellent work. When Naruto gets down, the training for today is over. Tenshi said, and as on cue Naruto landed with a thud behind him. Damn, I'm almost at the top. Naruto yelled and prepared to rush again when a hand grabbed him. No, that is enough. Training is over for today. Each of you have shown massive improvements today, and deserve a little rest. Come on, let's go to Ichiraku. My treat. Tenshi said, and Naruto whooped in joy. Sensei? Ino asked. Yes. Tenshi replied, turning to the girl. I hope you are rich, since Naruto can eat a lot of ramen. Ino said, and Sakura snickered. I know he can. I know. Tenshi said sadly while he gave them a smile before they headed towards Konoha and food. When Team 7 had eaten at Ichiraku Ramen, and nearly emptied Tenshi's wallet, they headed in their own direction. Naruto headed back to the training area, Ino headed home while Tenshi and Sakura headed towards the hospital. Uncle Tenshi? Sakura asked suddenly. Yes. Tenshi asked, turning to look at Sakura. How come we haven't been doing any missions yet? She asked. Tenshi smiled at her before turning back to walking again. Because you have been slacking off for 13 years now, and I have taken a week off from missions to get you into shape. Tenshi said, and Sakura glared at him. We haven't slacked off all our lives. We have worked hard, she said sternly, which made Tenshi chuckle. I am sure you did, but to tell you the truth, I don't think genin fresh out of the academy are ready for missions. That is why I work so hard now, before starting missions. Granted, the missions at first will be jokes, D rank always is. But even so, I want the three of you to be prepared. Tenshi said, his voice jokingly. They walked in silence until they reached the hospital, where they headed in to see if Rin was finished soon. She had just finished getting changed into her training clothes when the two walked into her office. Oh, good timing. Are you ready, little brother? Rin asked, and Sakura looked confused. What do you mean, Mom? She asked. Rin and I are training together today. Tenshi simply said, and Rin nodded. It's been way too long since I trained with my little brother now. You should come to Sakura, and see how we fight. Rin suggested while picking up her bag. After that, she checked to see if she had forgotten something and locked the office. The three then walked towards the same training area Team 7 used. So, what have you learned today? Rin asked Sakura, who beamed with pride. I and Ino Pig trained with tree climbing, then trained to expand our chakra, then we learned to meditate, and then we reached the top of the tree. Sakura said excitedly. In Naruto? Rin asked. He learned to meditate and almost reached the top of his tree. Tenshi replied before turning to Sakura. Why do you keep calling Ino, pig? There isn't anything about her resembling a pig. Not in looks or personality. Tenshi asked, and Sakura glared a little ahead of her. Because she calls me forehead girl. Was the simple, angry reply. Again Tenshi was puzzled. Why? Your forehead isn't that big. Is it? He asked. Sakura didn't answer. Instead, she looked down on the ground. Rin decided to talk about something else. Why is Naruto taking so much more time to reach the top than Sakura and Ino? She asked, and Sakura looked up again. Tenshi sighed a little. That is because he has much more chakra to control. The more chakra you have, the better control you need. Basically, that means that Naruto needs more control than Sakura, since he has much more chakra. Tenshi replied, and Sakura looked sad. So he is better than me then? She asked, but Rin shook her head. No, there is a lot more to a ninja than just chakra capacity and control. You can be a great ninja without much chakra. She said, and Sakura beamed. Thanks, Mom. She said, and Tenshi chuckled. We're here. He said, and they arrived at the training area. They saw Naruto training on the tree climbing, and Tenshi sighed before walking over and yanking the boy down from the tree. Hey, what's the big idea? Naruto yelled and kicked while hanging from Tenshi's arm. Didn't I say training was over? Tenshi asked. Doesn't mean I can't train on my own. Naruto replied while crossing his arms and glaring slightly. Tenshi sighed and shook his head before putting Naruto down on the ground. So, how far can you go now? Tenshi asked and Naruto grinned. I'll show you. Just watch Tenshi-asan. He yelled, did the ram seal and ran towards the tree. He continued upwards and upwards until he reached the top. There he grabbed the top and grinned down at his public, who were staring up at him. Sakura in disbelief, Tenshi and Rin in pride. Very good Naruto, but I see you still have some problems. Don't forget, this exercise isn't mastered until you can walk up and down several times without slipping. Now get down here, Rin and I are going to spar. Tenshi yelled up and Naruto jumped down. When he landed, he made a small indentation in the ground from his weights. He then got up and walked wobbly towards the others. Why did I have to come down if you are going to spar? He asked and both Rin and Tenshi grinned. Because you would have fallen out of the tree if you had watched from up there. They both said and Naruto and Sakura stared a little. Why, isn't it a normal spar? Sakura asked. Well yes, a normal spar between Junins. Which is far from what you have seen yet. Tenshi said. Compared to a good Junin, a genin moves at crawling speed. Rin said, eyes shining with pride. Hey, I can move faster than that. Naruto yelled and both Tenshi and Rin laughed loudly at that. Is that so? Well then, how can you say that when you have never seen our true speed? Rin asked, clearly amused. I haven't seen your true speed. Naruto asked and both Rin and Tenshi nearly fell over with surprise. No, we haven't shown that yet. Not to either of you two. Rin said and Naruto blinked a few times. Tenshi rolled his eyes and he and Rin walked into the center of the training area. You ready? Tenshi asked as they faced each other. Rin nodded and both slipped into their battle stances. Rin had her hands slightly in front of her body, while crouching slightly with her feet at about shoulder width. She was focusing entirely on Tenshi. Tenshi stood with one hand in front of his face and the other by his hip. He too had his feet at shoulder width. He smiled at Rin and his eyes changed. Naruto and Sakura gasped as they saw how the regular brown shifted to glowing blue. Wow, cool. Naruto yelled and Sakura nodded. Rin looked slightly anxious. She took a step towards Tenshi, while he took a step away from her. A few more steps were taken and the distance was still the exact same. Why are they moving like that? Naruto asked but Sakura shook her head. I don't know. Perhaps he is afraid of her. She tried, but somehow didn't really believe it. Then suddenly both Rin and Tenshi blurred out of sight and moments later a large shockwave flew through the training area. Naruto and Sakura shielded their eyes from the dust that came flying. When they looked they saw Rin and Tenshi stand in the middle of a shallow crater, fists caught by the other. They stood there a bit, pushing against each other and testing their strength. Suddenly Rin pulled back, pulling Tenshi off balance and slamming a knee into his stomach. He groaned and Rin tried to repeat the action but Tenshi twisted his arms and flung Rin over his back. She landed on her feet, skidding to a halt and was smirking at Tenshi, who smirked back, his glowing eyes showing amusement. Rin's eyes widened slightly when Tenshi started grinning widely. No, he isn't going to, she thought but all her thoughts were silenced when Tenshi closed his eyes before mumbling something and opening his eyes again. His eyes were still glowing blue, but something was different. It was like a sharper look past the eyes, like the glow intensified slightly. Then his eyes widened and Rin couldn't move. Ninpu. Kanashibari no. Tenshi said and Rin growled slightly. Seeing the curious look in his student's eyes, Tenshi smiled. It allows the user to paralyze his opponents with a single look. The ones that have mastered it can kill with it, but I can't. A missing nun named Orochimaru has mastered it, and if he uses it on someone, he can kill them, effectively killing someone with a look. Tomorrow, I will teach you how to counter it, since even Orochimaru can't kill with it without using it to paralyze you first. If he can't do that, then he can't kill you with it. But that doesn't mean he can't kill you though, since he is very strong. Tenshi said and turned back to Rin, who by now had countered the. She was glaring. I hate that. Kaden. Karyu Enden. Rin yelled out after doing the appropriate seals. A thin ray of white-hot fire shot towards Tenshi. The fire scorched everything in its path, but Tenshi didn't dodge. Instead he smiled while forming seals. Sakura and Naruto held their breath as the fire got closer and closer to Tenshi, who finished with his hands in the bird seal. Sweden. Water wolf shot. Tenshi yelled and water began to spurt from his mouth, and formed a wolf shape which met the fire head-on. A hissing sound could be heard and Sakura and Naruto stared in disbelief as the fire and the wolf merged to produce a huge cloud of steam. The cloud rose to block the combatants' view from each other. Neither Rin nor Tenshi could see each other. But they could feel each other's chakra. So, what now? We wait until the steam goes away, or do we continue? Tenshi called. Unknown to him, Rin was smiling while performing seals. No, we're continuing. Rin replied loudly before whispering. Futon, blade of the winds no, and waved her hands towards Tenshi. Huge gusts of wind came from her hands towards Tenshi, blowing away the steam as the blades continued towards Tenshi. He was blissfully unaware of the danger heading towards him. Huh, what is that sound? Oh, shit. Tenshi thought as he heard the blades come towards him and started to move. He was too late though, and one of the blades cut into his arm, making blood spew forth. Rin was surprised that she had actually hit him, but she didn't let it show. She did ask though. Why did you let them hit you? She asked and Tenshi smiled slightly. I suppose even I can do stupid mistakes. I simply wasn't paying enough attention. I must apologize, since I thought that you wouldn't have improved on your fighting. Guess I was wrong. Shall we continue? Tenshi replied and Rin nodded, returning to her fighting stance. Tenshi smiled before vanishing. Rin suddenly jumped forward, dodging the punch Tenshi had thrown at her. He had reappeared behind her, moving so fast that Naruto and Sakura hadn't a clue what happened. Rin knew what had happened though. She was still crouching, and looked behind her to see Tenshi holding a kunai to her neck. Shunshin, I should have known you would use that to brag to me. Rin said smilingly while Tenshi huffed and pretended to be hurt. Well, two can play that game. Rin said and vanished to reappear behind Tenshi, holding his kunai to his throat. The same kunai he had pointed at her. I'm not going to ask you to give up, since I know you won't. But stop messing around, okay? Rin said in a sweet tone. Tenshi glanced at her and smiled. As you wish, he said and vanished. Rin immediately started making seals. Before she could finish, Tenshi reappeared about 20 feet away from her and threw 6 shuriken and made some seals. Cage shuriken no. Tenshi yelled out and the 6 shuriken multiplied into 60. Rin stopped making seals, started making some new ones and crouched down, slamming her hands into the ground and pulled out a dome of earth. Doden. Protection dome no. Rin said and the shuriken Tenshi threw were stopped by the dome. She let it fall after a few moments, and was met by the sight of Tenshi finishing a seal and shooting fireballs at her. Kaden. Hausenka no. He yelled. He was only 10 feet or so from her, so she couldn't counter with a. Rin was forced to dodge the fireballs as much as possible, but after dodging them all, she saw that Tenshi was gone. She looked around, but couldn't see him. She then heard a rumbling sound and looked down to see Tenshi coming out of the ground with a punch aimed at her chin. She dodged by allowing herself to fall backwards. Tenshi flew past her and she reacted instantly by placing her fist in his stomach. He grunted but grabbed her hand, twisted in the air and tried to slam her into the ground. She twisted her body awkwardly and landed on her feet. Grabbing the hand that held her, she dragged him off balance and slammed her shoulder into his gut. He flew back a bit, but when he landed he flipped onto his feet and smiled at her. She smiled back and they both started making seals so fast Naruto and Sakura couldn't follow at all. They finished at the same time. Kaden. Ryuka no. They both yelled out, and a dragon of fire formed above them and flew towards the other. The two dragons met in the middle and cancelled each other out. Tenshi and Rin rushed at each other and drew and tried to slash each other. They blocked and slashed. Tenshi tried to slash Rin across her left shoulder, but Rin twisted out of the way and tried to stab Tenshi in his right thigh. He jumped away, narrowly avoiding injury. He jumped towards her and slashed towards her stomach. She jumped back, but still got grazed. Rin jumped a little away, and looked at Tenshi. Both were panting but smiling. This has been fun, but I think I will become serious now. Rin said and did some seals. A blue glow surrounded her hands. Fighting with medicine, huh? Tenshi asked and Rin nodded. Yes, only the best for you, right? She asked and Tenshi chuckled. Oh, well then, I guess I should pull out some stronger moves too then. Tenshi said and held his palm up. In the palm a sphere of chakra appeared. It was made up of several layers of spinning chakra blades, resembling a typhoon. Rasengan, Tenshi said and Rin's eyes widened before narrowing. Stronger moves. Do you have a stronger move than that, except the Heaven Light? Rin asked and Tenshi shook his head. Nope, he said smilingly and Rin just shook her head. I have a feeling this should stop now, before either of us gets seriously hurt. She said and Tenshi nodded. They both let their attacks dissipate. Rin's hands lost their glow and Tenshi's Rasengan faded away. Both took a calming breath before letting their guard down. That was great, Rin. We should do this again sometime. Tenshi said and Rin laughed at him. Both of them started making their way towards Naruto and Sakura. Just don't let it be 6 years until next time, okay? Rin asked and Tenshi laughed slightly while scratching his head. Yeah, sure, I'll try, he said. Naruto sat on his bed, recalling the fight he had seen earlier the same day. They moved so fast, I couldn't see them, he said to himself. Of course, they are both Junin, and Wolf is a very strong one also, but if you tell him I told you that, I'll give you the mother of all headaches. Kyuubi growled inside Naruto's head. Alright already, I won't tell him, but what do you suppose he meant by making as his level? Naruto asked his furry tenant. Flashback. Sakura, Naruto, were you two able to follow me and Rin with your eyes and other senses? Tenshi asked and both Naruto and Sakura shook their heads. No, not for the most part. You were moving way too fast, Uncle Tenshi. Sakura answered and Naruto nodded fiercely. Yeah, you were so fast, it was like whoosh and you were gone. Anosa, you think I can become so strong someday? Naruto asked and Tenshi smiled before ruffling Naruto's hair. I intend to make you, Sakura and Ino very strong. I intend to make you my level. Tenshi said cheerfully. End flashback. I don't know, but if I were to guess, it means he plans to train you three to become so powerful that you can match him. That means a lot of training, Kit. Kyuubi said and Naruto grumbled but didn't answer. What is it? Afraid of the big bad wolf's training? Or failing his expectations? Kyuubi asked in a mocking tone. Nani? What are you saying, stupid fox? I'm Uzumaki Naruto and I will never be afraid of training. I will never fail Tenshi Asen's training. So just shut up the fur ball. Naruto yelled and Kyuubi snickered. You are so easy to enrage. It isn't something a ninja should be. But I guess you at least have the guts needed. It must be because you have the strongest demon in you that you feel so confident. I understand, but try not to rely on my power too much. You have to become strong without my power as well. Kyuubi mocked, making Naruto even angrier. Just shut up, you stupid fox, and leave me alone. Naruto yelled and strangely Kyuubi did as he said. Naruto sat on his bed for about half an hour before he fell asleep. His last thought was, if Tenshi Asen wants to make me as strong as he is, then I won't back down. I won't take my word back. It is mine. Sakura was lying in her bed, staring at her roof. She was also thinking about what Tenshi had said to them. His level, huh, can I surpass Mom? She thought. slightly sadly. She then looked at her hand. She closed it and smiled. If he can make me this much stronger in such a short time, then I can. If uncle teaches and trains me, then I can become so strong. I will. Sakura thought before snuggling into her covers and falling asleep. Ino was unaware of what Tenshi had said, and of what had happened during the spar, so she was sleeping peacefully without thoughts of training in her mind. Rin was lying in bed with closed eyes, but she wasn't asleep. She was thinking about the spar she had with Tenshi. More accurately, when he had been hit by her wind blades. He should have heard them and been able to dodge them. I only used that to get the steam away, but he let it hit him. Why? To confuse me. No, that can't be it. He could have done worse things if he wanted to do that. To make me underestimate him. No, he doesn't need me to do that. Is he becoming rusty? It is the only thing I can think of that should explain it. But, no, he wouldn't allow himself to become rusty. Sensei trained him too well for that to be the cause. Then why? She thought, but no answer came. Opening her eyes, she looked at her nightstand. There were 4 pictures. The first showed a tall man with wild blonde hair and a huge grin with 3 young kids in front of him. One of the kids, the one to the left, was a boy with black hair wearing goggles and a huge grin as well. In the middle, a girl with brown hair and 2 rectangular streaks on her cheeks stood, looking happily into the camera. On the right side, a boy with silver hair and a face mask stood. He had a look that literally screamed, "Follow the rules or die," and, "This is a waste of time." It was Rin's first team. The second picture was mostly the same, except the black-haired boy was replaced with a boy much younger than the others in the picture. He had brown hair and a slightly uneasy smile, as if he didn't know what to do in this situation. Rin had matured a lot in between the 2 pictures but still looked mostly the same. She had lost a little of the innocent look she had in the first picture, suggesting that she had seen things she shouldn't have seen. Yondaime hadn't changed at all, still the same blonde hair that seemed like it had its own life, and the same smile that probably would make hearts beat faster. Yes, Yondaime was a handsome man. Everyone that had met him knew that Rin would be one of the first to admit that. The silver-haired boy had changed minimally. The only change was that he seemed to have lost some baby fat and had his forehead protector tilted so that it covered his left eye. His visible eyes held much sadness and guilt. The third picture was of Rin with a child in her arms and a man lying next to the 2 in a hospital bed. The man had pink hair and green eyes. He looked happy and had a huge smile on his face. Rin looked tired, but happy as well. She didn't look into the camera, instead she looked at the child in her arms. It was the newborn Sakura. The little girl was asleep, suckling happily on her thumb. Both Rin and the man, Sakura's father, looked happy, real happy. The last picture was of 5 people. On the left stood Rin's husband, a hand over Rin's shoulder. He was looking at the 3 in the middle with fondness in his eyes. Rin was in the middle, holding 2 small children. One of the children was a girl with pink hair and a cute expression. It looked like she was giggling. The other was a boy with wild blonde hair and a fox grin on his face. Rin was cooking with the 2 children. On the right stood a boy. He couldn't be any older than 8, his brown hair covered in a bandana. He was looking at the 2 children as well, a gentle smile on his face, but like the other picture he was in, it didn't look like he knew what was going on exactly. Rin smiled when she looked at the pictures. She missed her dead teammate, her sensei, but mostly her dead husband. Thinking back to all the good and happy times without so much sorrow and death, she fell asleep with a smile on her face. Tenshi was sitting on the Hokage monument, looking out over the sleeping village. He sighed and looked at a scroll in his hands. It was named Heaven Light. I wonder when my 3 students will be ready to learn this. My strongest, Naruto, is probably the only one that can use it more than once in a day. I can barely use any after this one. The chakra it takes to do is so huge, sometimes I wonder why I decided to teach it to them. A kinjutsu even before it was finished. But they will need it against Akatsuki. I can't let them go up against Itachi without something to counter that black fire of his. Tenshi thought before he sighed and placed the scroll in a pocket in his vest. He pulled out another scroll and a brush. Placing the scroll on the ground, he began to write. After about an hour of writing, he rolled up the scroll again and put it back into his vest. But not before taking another look at its title, Training Schedule. 3 genin stood in a training area, slightly nervous. Naruto wore his usual orange, slightly worn jumpsuit with his weights under. While he looked nervous, he also had a look of eagerness on his face. Sakura wore her red dress with the white circles representing the Haruno crest. She also wore the weights, but unlike Naruto, she didn't look eager, but had a look of steel determination on her face. Ino, on the other hand, didn't look so good. She was the one who was most nervous of the 3. Even though she looked like her normal self in her purple 2-piece dress, if someone looked close enough they would see she was shaking a little bit. Naruto and Sakura had told her about the spar Tenshi and Rin had the day before and what Tenshi had said, and it scared Ino. She was sure she couldn't become that strong, and was afraid she would die. Not when Naruto told her she was strong, and not even when Sakura said that if she didn't snap out of it soon, Sakura would win Sasuke, did Ino stop feeling scared. Both Sakura and Naruto were concerned for their friend and teammate, but decided to wait for Tenshi, who was slightly late. Tenshi cursed himself for forgetting to set his watch and sleeping in. He jumped out of his bed, and made a Kage Bunshin start making breakfast while he showered and got dressed. Then he ate with a speed that could rival Naruto while eating ramen and vanished from his apartment. In all it took him 20 minutes. Tenshi appeared in front of his students with an embarrassed smile on his face. Before he could say something, 3 voices yelled. "You're late." Sorry I'm late. I forgot to set my watch last night," Tenshi said while rubbing his sore ears. For a few moments, Naruto, Sakura and Ino forgot why they were so worried, but then it came back to them. Their angry expressions changed into anxious ones. Tenshi, noting the difference in mood, looked hard at his students. What's up with them today? You would think I scared them or something. Wait, he thought before realization hit him and his eyes widened. Wait, are you 3 anxious because of what I said yesterday? About making you my level? Tenshi asked. Naruto, Sakura and Ino looked at each other before nodding. Why? Tenshi asked. He was confused. Why would someone be scared of becoming stronger? He had done it all his life, and had never been scared of it. Naruto was about to reply, but Sakura cut him off. I don't know if I can become as strong as you, she said. Behind her Naruto was pouting slightly but also nodding. Tenshi looked at Ino, who looked really uncomfortable and was staring down on the ground while scraping the ground with her shoe. Tenshi was about to ask who she was and where the real Ino was, but then she looked up at him and his voice died in his throat. She looked almost desperate. Sensei, I can't become so strong, and if I try, I will die, she said sadly and looked down on the ground again. Tenshi looked at her before walking over to her and crouched down in front of her and smiled reassuringly at her. Ino, can you tell me why you think that? He asked, his tone serious, but kind. Almost like a father talking to his child. Ino looked wide-eyed at Tenshi, but he didn't move, or change his expression. I'm just not good enough. Ino stammered and tried to hide her shame by closing her eyes and dropping her head low. Her eyes flew open when Tenshi gently lifted her chin slightly up. She looked into his eyes and was startled when they changed from his normal brown to glowing blue. His expression had changed from reassuring to stern. His voice was stern as well, unbending and hard as steel. Yamanaka Ino, if I ever hear you doubting yourself like that again, I swear I won't be kind. You have lots of potential, you all have. Tenshi said and looked at Naruto and Sakura as well before turning back to Ino. Ino, if you set your mind on something, and work hard for it, then you can do it. If you work hard and have friends that help and support you, then you can become as strong as me. Tenshi said and stood up and walked up to the memorial. Naruto also walked up to the memorial while Sakura and Ino followed shortly behind. The three genin stopped a little behind Tenshi. He had his hand on the stone and his head bowed in respect. I have a reason for wanting you three to be at my level. Tenshi said but didn't continue. Naruto, Sakura and Ino waited for a while but then Naruto became impatient. Well, what is that reason? He asked and Tenshi straightened. I have known Naruto and Sakura since you were born, although I have been absent way too long. I have only known Ino for 3 days now, but there is no difference in my eyes. Tenshi said and turned around to look at his students. His eyes were sincere and showed fondness. You three are my students, students that have earned my respect, students that have gotten my friendship. And students that I love. For you three I would gladly die, if it means to protect you. That is how much of an impression you three have given me in this short amount of time. But I ask myself, if I die to protect my team tomorrow, what about the day after, or the day after that? Or next year? What will happen to you three if I am no longer? Tenshi asked, more to himself than to the three genin. He looked up at the sky before sighing and looking down again. At your current level, you would not survive long. So I decided that I would train you three to become strong, real strong. I said I would make you my level, but what I would be most happy to see is you three becoming even stronger than that. Then I will know that you won't need me to protect you anymore. That is why I want to make you three my level. So that you can protect yourself. Tenshi said and the three genin looked at each other in wonder. Turning back, they looked even more anxious, but this time not for themselves, but for Tenshi. Tenshi-san, why are you talking like that? Naruto asked. Yeah, uncle. Why? It almost sounds like you are dying or something. Sakura joined, stepping forward with her hands on her chest. Sensei, you can't leave us. Ino said, almost on the verge of crying. Tenshi smiled before turning back to the memorial. He gestured to it with his hand. One day, I will be on this stone. I have no illusions of immortality or that I am the strongest in the world. One day, you three will have to face the ninja world without me. Either you get promoted, or I die. But don't worry, that is long into the future. Now we train, okay? Tenshi said and turned back smiling at the three genin, who smiled back and nodded eagerly. Tenshi looked at them, but mostly at Ino. All the anxiety was gone, as if blown away by a wind. Tenshi was relieved. Good. Their confidence has returned. Now I can begin the training. He didn't want them to be afraid or doubt themselves. Tenshi, Naruto, Sakura and Ino walked over to 3 trees that were badly scratched by. Tenshi pointed to the trees. Get going. You have half an hour to run up and down your tree at least 3 times. Don't stop until I say so though. He said and the kids groaned. Tenshi-san, we can't do that. We only reached the top yesterday. Naruto complained. If you don't do this, then I will double your weights. Now move. Tenshi commanded and the 3 genin didn't hesitate. Instead they started running up and down. To their surprise they didn't have such a difficult time as they thought. Naruto slipped a few times, but managed to catch himself before he hit the ground. Sakura and Ino showed near perfect control and a significant increase in chakra capacity. Tenshi smiled as he looked at the 3 running up and down. They may not realize it, but right now they are much stronger than they were 3 days ago. This is going great. Soon I can begin teaching them in combat and stealth. Tenshi thought and chuckled as Naruto slipped again. Careful Naruto, he yelled. Naruto didn't respond, instead he continued to run. After the half hour was over, Sakura had managed to run up and down 4 times. Ino managed 3 and was halfway down on the 4th time when the time ran out. Naruto also managed 3 and was almost to the top again when the time was out. When the 3 of them all stood in front of him, Tenshi started to clap. Well done. Did you three see how much you have improved? Yesterday you reached the top, and after a night of rest, you have been able to run up and down the tree 3 times each, Sakura managed for. That is a huge development. Also, you have surpassed my expectations, since all of you move normally with your weights on, much sooner than I expected. I don't want you to gain weight yet. Today is Wednesday. On Saturday we are going to train together with Team 10. Until then we aren't going to increase the weight, but on Saturday you are going to. Don't ask me why though. Think of it as a way to surprise your friends with how strong you are. It is never smart to show off your strength. Only show your real power when you need it. But back to the point. In the next 3 days, we are going to train somewhere different. Go home and get your swimming clothes and meet me at the hot springs. You have half an hour. If you aren't there by that time, then you'll be punished. Get moving, Tenshi ordered, and the 3 genin scrambled towards their homes. Naruto jumped from rooftop to rooftop. Excitement was clear in his face. I wonder what he is going to teach us now, he said out loud. If Kyuubi heard, he didn't bother to answer. When Naruto reached his apartment, he nearly tore off the door to get inside. Once inside his apartment, he rushed to his bedroom and ripped out his drawers. Throwing clothes everywhere, he searched for something he could use as swimming trunks. He only found a pair of orange boxers with green swirls on them. He grabbed them and a towel and threw them into a bag before rushing out the door again. Sakura ran inside her house, knocking Rin, who was about to go out to see the training, over. OWW, Sakura. What's the hurry? Rin asked, rubbing her now sore behind. Sakura groaned before gasping and jumping up. Mom. Oh, I'm so sorry, but I have to hurry. I have 20 minutes to find my swimsuit and get to the hot springs. Sakura said and rushed to her room, almost stumbled over her pink bag, and ran to her dresser, where she yanked on the drawer she knew the elusive piece of clothing was. When she found it, a dark red suit that was open in the back, she whirled around and saw Rin standing there with an amused expression, holding the bag and a towel. I figured you would need a towel. So, why are you going to the hot springs? Rin asked. Uncle said to meet him there. Something about training, Sakura said and placed her suit in the bag. She went a little around her room, gathering things like shampoo, sun oil, and other things she thought she would use at the hot springs. Rin smiled at her daughter, since she knew what kind of training Tenshi had in mind, and most of the things Sakura grabbed wouldn't be used. When Sakura finished, she quickly jumped out of her window, Rin following close behind. Mom, why are you coming? Sakura asked and Rin laughed. Are you kidding? I'm not going to miss this for the world. Rin said and laughed even harder at Sakura's confused expression. Ino had planned on going to the hot springs later that day anyway, so she already had all she needed ready on her bed. She looked at the 2-piece swimsuit she had. It was light blue, much like her eyes, with yellow flowers on it. She was proud of that swimsuit. It was her best, and it made her look really sexy, so much that she sometimes had to fend off boys with a stick, literally, when she went to the beach. Tossing everything into a bag, she quickly ran out and headed towards the hot springs. Tenshi stood on top of a telephone pole, waiting for his students to run past him. He smiled when he saw them meet in an intersection and began to run towards the hot springs together. And here I was wondering if I had to teach them something about battle formations. Guess I won't have to, since they seem to get that naturally. Tenshi said to himself, observing how his students ran. He also noted that Rin was with them. The 4 of them ran in the arrowhead formation, Naruto in front with Sakura and Ino on his sides, slightly behind him and Rin directly behind Naruto. Tenshi smiled even wider when he saw that Rin winked at him, and using sign language she said that it was the kids that started running like that. Deciding to follow Rin's example, Tenshi vanished and reappeared behind Ino. Rin was the only one who noticed him and moved, so she ran behind Sakura. When they arrived at the hot springs, Tenshi vanished and reappeared about 7 feet in front of Naruto. Alright, you made it on time. Good, and I see we have a visitor as well. Hello Rin, Tenshi said and Rin waved while smiling broadly. Okay, here is what is going to happen. Go change and meet me, here. Tenshi said and vanished and reappeared next to one of the hottest springs. The genin did as he said, reluctantly though, seeing the evil glint in Rin's eyes when she saw which spring Tenshi chose. After the kids were gone to change, she appeared next to Tenshi. You are a real sadist sometimes, you know that? Rin asked and Tenshi grinned. Hi, he just replied. Naruto, Sakura and Ino stood in front of Tenshi and Rin. Naruto had 2 huge bumps on his head and blood running down his nose from the nosebleed he got after seeing Ino and Sakura in their swimming suits. Apparently Ino and Sakura didn't enjoy that, since when they saw Naruto getting a nosebleed from looking at them, they bonked him on the head. Alright, enough bonking and bleeding. Pay attention. This is the next exercise. Tenshi said and walked out on the water. He could almost hear the impacts his students' chins made as they hit the ground. Tenshi turned around to see Sakura and Ino trying to compose themselves, but Naruto was still staring, jaw hanging open. Tenshi laughed a bit, which snapped Naruto back to normal. Wow, how do you do that? Amazing. Naruto yelled. Rin smiled and followed Tenshi out on the water. When she reached him, she turned to the kids. This is a chakra exercise. Rin said and Tenshi nodded. To stand on water we release a constant amount of chakra. It is a bit like walking up the tree, but a lot more difficult. But basically you release a stream of chakra into the water that you stand on. This is another chakra control exercise, but it will also increase your chakra capacity much more than tree walk. Also, as with tree walk, to be able to walk on water is a very useful skill. Imagine you are fighting near water, and get knocked into the water. If you can walk on water, then you can surprise your enemy much easier. Tenshi explained and the 3 genin nodded. Now, it's your turn. Tenshi said and Naruto jumped in excitement, pumping a fist into the air. Sakura and Ino were a bit less enthusiastic, but they were eager to try as well. Sakura and Ino looked at each other with determination shining in their eyes. I will not be beaten by you, forehead girl. Ino said with a cocky grin. Huh, Ino pig is delusional. I will beat you. Sakura replied, mirroring Ino's grin. Tenshi saw this, and leaned against Rin. I for one think it is interesting that those two haven't said anything about Sasuke for a long time. From what I heard, they were always fawning over him, weren't they? Tenshi whispered and Rin nodded. Yes, it is strange that they haven't said anything about him yet, but I'm not complaining. Uchiha Sasuke is an uptight bastard that is only thinking about himself and his revenge. If Sakura came home and told me she was together with that bastard, I think I would have a stroke. Rin whispered back and Tenshi had to try very hard not to laugh loudly at that. Yosh, I'm going to master this in one try. Naruto yelled and stepped out onto the water. And feel right into it. A few bubbles rose to the surface. Sakura and Ino were looking to see if Naruto was going to rise up on the surface, while Tenshi and Rin were counting. 3, 2, 1, they said in unison, and just when they said 1, the hot spring erupted and Naruto flew into the air, red as a lobster. Hot, he yelled before crash landing behind Sakura. Sakura and Ino whirled around to stare at Naruto, who were lying on the ground, practically steaming, while Tenshi and Rin barely stood on their feet from laughter. And that is why we are practicing here. If you mess up, you get burned. It is a much faster way of teaching your body how to do this. Kind of, forcing the body to learn. Tenshi said and grinned when the 3 genin shot him glares that oddly resembled the Kanashibari. Now it is Sakura's turn. Tenshi said and Sakura gulped. She stepped out on the water, and sank down to about knee level. Her face contracted from pain when she felt the scalding hot water, but she continued to focus anyway. Soon she rose up so much that the water reached her to her ankles. She stayed like that for about 5 minutes before starting to sink. Tenshi quickly grabbed her and lifted her out. Placing her next to Naruto, Tenshi smiled at her. Good work, Sakura, although not enough control. But I have a feeling you will get it real soon, he said, and Sakura nodded weakly at him. She felt very drained, and her feet hurt. Okay, Ino, you're up, Tenshi said and walked out on the water again. Ino looked over at Sakura and Naruto before shaking her head, taking a deep soothing breath, closing her eyes and stepping out on the water. And stood on the top like Tenshi and Rin did. Ino kept her eyes closed and focused all her will on staying where she was. She didn't even think about the absence of a burning sensation around her feet. Tenshi was very pleased, Rin was happy for Ino, Sakura and Naruto were staring in disbelief. Ino stood on top of the water for another 4 minutes, but then she started to sink. She yelped when she felt the warm water around her ankles and lost her focus. Before she could fall, however, Tenshi had caught her and placed her next to Sakura. He was practically beaming with pride at Ino, who blushed a little at the obvious sign of a happy teacher. Good work, Sakura and Ino. Naruto has to take this more seriously. Now, any questions before the second round? Tenshi said happily, and Sakura raised her hand. How come Ino managed to do it in her first try? She asked, and Ino snapped out of her little daze of blushing to hear the answer. Well, unlike you and Naruto, Ino focused all her will into this. She focused only on standing on the water, while Naruto was overeager, and you, Sakura, were anxious about burning yourself. It is understandable, but it interferes with your focus and concentration. To your credit, Sakura, you didn't lose your focus when you felt the hot water. Instead, you fought and improved. Next time I want Naruto and Sakura to focus only on standing on the water, and nothing else. Got it? Tenshi asked, and Naruto and Sakura nodded. Ino raised her hand. Sensei, what about me? She asked shyly. Tenshi smiled at her before replying. You are going to focus on walking. Right now all you did was stand on the water. Now you are going to walk on it, he said. Ino nodded, determined to get this. Okay, Naruto, get on the water, Tenshi ordered, and the now slightly less red boy stood up. Naruto closed his eyes, formed the ram seal and focused chakra underneath his foot soles. He closed his eyes, stepped out on the water, and sank down to ankle level, but then he stayed there as well. Tenshi smiled at Naruto's improvement. After 5 minutes, Naruto opened his eyes and rose up and stood on the water. To say Tenshi was surprised is an understatement. He was shocked. How did Naruto improve so much? Kyuubi, what the hell did Naruto just do? To improve so much is nothing short of extreme. Tenshi mentally asked Kyuubi, who chuckled. The kid is really smarter than I or anyone else gives him credit for. The 5 minutes he was standing with his ankles in the water, he was meditating, studying the difference in chakra that he used and you use. Then he corrected himself and bonsai. Naruto is standing on water. Kyuubi said, pride filling his voice. Wow, was Tenshi's reply. Very good, Naruto. How did you do that? Tenshi asked, and Naruto looked at him. Oh shit, Naruto said and started to sink. Tenshi helped him to dry the ground though. Naruto, Rin and Tenshi looked at Sakura and Ino, who hadn't said anything for a while. Sakura and Ino sat there, staring at the spot Naruto had occupied on the water. It was obvious they didn't believe their eyes. Sakura, Ino, Tenshi asked. That seemed to snap them back to reality. They turned to see a smug-looking Naruto, a concerned Tenshi and an amused Rin. Then they remembered what Naruto had done. How did Naruto do that? Sakura and Ino shouted at the same time. Yes, Naruto, how did you do that? Rin asked, and Naruto scratched his head in embarrassment. I used my chakra to stay on the water, but when I sank I didn't know what was wrong, so I got an idea. I started to meditate and feel how Tenshi Asan and Rin Ne-san did it. Then I mimicked them and I stood on the water. It worked really well. You should try, Sakura-chan. Naruto said with a wide smile. Sakura nodded slowly, while Ino was confused. Naruto thought up something so smart. Wow, I never thought he would be capable of that kind of thought. Perhaps he isn't, Ino thought, but Naruto interrupted. Hey, Ino-chan, why the faraway look? He asked loudly, waving a hand in front of her face. It didn't seem like he or Ino realized the added suffix. Sakura did though, and she felt slightly jealous. Why am I jealous of Ino pig? It's just a suffix, she thought. Tenshi and Rin also noticed, but didn't pay any heed to it. Sakura, it's your turn, Tenshi said, and Sakura nodded. She stood up, chased all thoughts of Naruto, Ino and anyone else from her mind, closed her eyes and started to meditate. She saw how her chakra moved. When she was sure she was deep in her meditative state, she spread her senses and sensed Rin and Tenshi's chakra. She nearly exited the meditative state when she felt and partly saw how much chakra Rin and Tenshi had. She also got the impression that what she saw wasn't even their full potential. After a few moments of admiring how much chakra was collected in her mother and uncle Sensei, Sakura remembered what she was supposed to do, and focused on how their chakra moved. She saw that the chakra moved completely differently in them than in her. She looked at Ino and Naruto to see if the same difference was there, which it was, although Naruto had a big, warm sphere of red chakra around his navel. In her, Naruto and Ino, the chakra moved like a flowing river, fast and, for lack of better words, impatient. The result was that Sakura's chakra coils, the pathways that chakra flows through, weren't completely filled with chakra. They looked like a tube placed slightly tilted that someone slowly let water flow trough. While Tenshi and Rin's chakra moved much slower and more composed. Their chakra coils were completely filled with chakra, giving the impression of someone drinking from a straw when the glass was full. Sakura didn't know why their chakra was like that. She then focused on Tenshi and Rin's feet. Their chakra moved at the same speed Sakura's did when she wasn't using it, but still the coils were full. Sakura saw how the chakra collected under the feet and went into the water, making Tenshi and Rin stand there perfectly. Deciding to ask about it later, Sakura decided to try and mimic how the chakra moved at the feet. Forming the ram seal, she moved chakra down to her feet, filling the chakra coils, and stepping out onto the water. She sank a little, but then rose to stand on the water. She tried to keep the chakra coils in her feet flooded, but it was so draining. But slowly it became less and less draining, and after about 7 to 8 minutes of standing on the water, she didn't have to focus so much on it. Then Tenshi moved and picked her up. Sakura stopped moving chakra and stopped meditating. When Tenshi sat her down next to Naruto, she looked at him expectantly. He smiled at her and nodded. Good, you got the hang of it. I don't want you to say what you saw yet though. Let Ino try first, Tenshi said and ruffled Sakura's hair slightly, still smiling. Sakura smiled back and nodded. She didn't show it, but she felt really tired and drained. I didn't know it took that much chakra to stand on water, she thought. Ino, you're up, Tenshi said and Ino nodded. She stepped up to the water, took a calming breath, formed the ram seal and stepped out on the water. She stood perfectly on the water, but when she started to walk, her face contracted in concentration. She took slow steps, but at first she sank a little. Not much, not even to ankle level, but she had to stop after every step and rise up before taking the next. Eventually she became better at it. She still sank a little at each step, but it took much less time to compose herself afterwards. After 10 minutes of walking on the water, Tenshi stepped in front of her and motioned towards Naruto and Sakura before walking over to them. Ino followed, and when she got to dry land, she quickly sat down next to Sakura. Very good. All of you can stand on water now. Very good. Again, you three have exceeded my expectations. I thought you would take much longer to do that. Because of that, I have 2 rewards for you. The first is that we aren't going to practice water walking here anymore. Instead, we are going to a river not far from the Hokage monument. Secondly, I am going to give you 3 soon. But first, Sakura, can you tell Naruto and Ino what you saw when you were meditating? Tenshi asked, and Sakura nodded before standing up, facing Naruto and Ino, and entered lecture mode. When I was meditating, I saw my own chakra coils. They weren't half filled with chakra, and the chakra that was in the coils was flowing fast. But, yes, Naruto, Sakura asked when Naruto raised his hand. Anosa, what are chakra coils? He asked, and Tenshi, Rin, Sakura and Ino fell over in surprise, which is pretty big since Ino was sitting down. Chakra coils are like pipes throughout your body. It is in these pipes that chakra flows. Also, in the entire chakra coil system there are 361 points, called. These points are smaller than a needle head, but are very important, since they help regulate the chakra flow. The Hyuga clan uses a special taijutsu style to damage the chakra coil in the. They can stop your chakra with a few good strikes, closing the and stopping the chakra flow, or increase the flow by opening the further. Also, in the chakra coil system, there are 8 gates. These 8 gates also help regulate the flow of chakra. It is possible to open these gates and temporarily gain extreme powers, but it will damage the body. Taijutsu masters can open the gates at will, but only after a lot of training. Tenshi explained, and Naruto crossed his legs, and rested his chin on his left hand while resting his left elbow on his knee. His thinking pose. So, basically, chakra coils are where the chakra are, small points that can be closed, and 8 gates that control chakra flow. Right, Naruto asked, and Tenshi nodded. Can I continue? Sakura asked, and Tenshi nodded again. Okay. As I was saying, my chakra coils weren't half filled with chakra, and the same was for Naruto and Ino's coils as well. But Mom and Uncle's coils, they were completely filled to the brim. Sakura said. What do you mean? Ino asked curiously. Sakura sighed and scratched her head, wondering how she was going to explain this. Then she had an idea. Okay. Our coils looked like they were about half filled with water flowing like a river. The chakra is blue, so it looks like water. The rest of the coils were white and empty. But Uncle Tenshi and Mom's coils were completely blue. I couldn't see any shape resembling water, and no white and empty part of the coils. However, I saw how their chakra flowed, and it was much slower and composed than ours. Why, I don't know, Sakura said, confusion showing on her face. Well, that is simple. We have much more chakra, so it fills our coils while you don't have that much. Also, our chakra flows slower than yours since ours are better molded. Tenshi said cheerfully. What that means is that while your chakra flows fast and without much order, our chakra is slow and composed. Your chakra wastes a bit of its potency because it flows so fast, while ours doesn't. Chakra is made by mixing spirit and body energy. This is called molding chakra, and happens constantly in your body, more precisely in what is called your center. In other words, the molding starts behind your navel and ends in your heart. Then the chakra flows throughout the body. Rin said. In the heart, the 8th and most dangerous chakra gate is. It controls how much chakra is molded by the heart. If that gate is opened, the person opening it will die. But I'm babbling. Back to the chakra. Why your chakra loses some of the potency is because it moves so fast when you don't have to. That means that the chakra uses up some of its energy to flow so fast and has to flow far throughout your body. When you have to use it, either your chakra moves just as fast, or you push your body harder to make it move faster. Me or Rin don't have to do that, since when we don't need our chakra, it flows slowly, but when we need it, it flows fast and precisely, not wasting anything. That is often the difference between winner and loser in a fight, how much chakra is wasted. So, in a nutshell, the reason why our chakra coils are filled with chakra is because we have much more chakra than you, and the reason our chakra flows slower is because it is better molded. That means that one day, you 3 will also have chakra like me and Rin. Tenshi explained and took a deep breath. Naruto, Sakura and Ino nodded slowly, mentally fighting to process all the information. Alright, now that all the explanation is over, we are taking a break. Go and change and meet us here. Tenshi commanded and the genin scrambled towards the changing rooms. The three genin stood in front of Tenshi and Rin, fully clothed again. Okay, now it is time for your second reward. We are going shopping, Tenshi said and was immediately met with cheers from Ino and Sakura. Come on, Rin said and they started to walk towards the shopping district. Tenshi, Rin, Naruto, Sakura and Ino had arrived at the shop most of the Konoha shinobi got their clothes from. Naruto was slightly uneasy about going into the shop, and Ino noticed. Naruto, what's wrong? She asked. Last time I tried to get in here, they threw me out. Naruto replied. Don't worry, that won't happen now. Tenshi said and opened the door. When they entered the shopkeeper first seemed cheery and welcoming. But then he saw Naruto and his whole temper changed. Get out, he said with venom dripping from his words, but before Naruto could turn to leave, Tenshi placed a firm hand on his shoulder. Smiling reassuringly at Naruto, he turned to the shopkeeper. I don't know what you think you are doing, but we are here to buy some clothes. It wouldn't be good for your business if you turned away customers. Tenshi said. His face was hidden from Naruto, Sakura and Ino, so they didn't see him turn his eyes blue. That scared the shopkeeper much more than Naruto did, so he just nodded and hurried out of the way. Tenshi then led Naruto to the men's part of the shop, while Rin took Sakura and Ino. Hey, Tenshi, any specific look we are going for? Rin asked. Try to keep it dark. Fit for stealth, but also a bit of protection. Tenshi replied and Rin nodded. Okay Naruto, what is the best choice of clothing for a ninja? Tenshi asked. Naruto thought for a bit before remembering something Iruka told him once. The clothes have to be dark in color and not reflect light. They have to be strong and durable, but also so that the ninja can move easily and without sound. Naruto said, feeling proud of himself. Good. But it isn't too important, since you can use henge to make the clothes as they have to be, and when you get promoted to Chunin and Junin or Anbu, you get uniforms that fit all that. But now, let's get you an outfit then. Pick out something you like, and think it fits all that you said. If I like it, then I'll approve. If not, then you have to try again. Okay, Tenshi said and Naruto looked at him before turning to the racks of clothes before him. This is going to take a while. Naruto said and both Tenshi and Kyuubi, who had watched the whole thing, nodded. Okay girls. Now, we aren't here to buy the prettiest or sexiest outfit, but the best ninja outfit. Ninjas have to be silent, stealthy and fast. Try to find clothes that suit those purposes. Rin commanded. Sakura and Ino were in heaven, going between the racks of clothes, picking out different outfits. It took about 30 minutes and 3 attempts from Rin to make the two of them actually focus on finding something that they could work in. Naruto was done with picking out his outfit after 20 minutes. He chose a black version of his old ninja shoes, 3 baggy pants with lots of pockets for kunai, shuriken and other ninja utilities. One of them were black with red fire-like lines running up and down, one was dark blue with yellow fire and the last was dark green with orange fire. He also chose a fishnet shirt with some armor plating, a black Chinese-style jacket, with the Konoha leaf in darker blue on the chest and a golden Kyuubi on the back, its 9 tails turning into the Uzumaki clan crest, and Kyuubi himself looked like he was trying to bite Naruto's shoulder. Naruto also ordered 2 more jackets with the same style, only one in deep blue and one in red with an orange Kyuubi. The jackets had to be specially made and would be ready in 2 days, the shopkeeper said. He was rather scared after Tenshi told him that if Naruto didn't get quality, then the shopkeeper would find himself in a world of pain. Good work Naruto. When we get you some weapons, you will be more than ready for missions. Tenshi praised me. Naruto nodded eagerly and held out 3 muscle shirts in red, black and purple that he had found. The shirts had images of fire on them. Tenshi slightly shook his head and paid for the clothes. They then went to see how the girls were. They found them, but were commanded to wait outside until Rin came and said they had finished choosing. They waited and waited and waited. They waited for 3 hours. Or rather, they would have, if Tenshi hadn't gotten the idea to leave a cage bunshin there and go train a bit. Knowing Naruto's chakra control had increased greatly, Tenshi wanted him to summon. Naruto nodded, bit his thumb, did the seals, put as much chakra as he could into the and was about to slam his fist on the ground when Kyuubi yelled, "Stop. With that much chakra you'll summon me." Naruto stumbled and cancelled. He looked over at Tenshi, who stared in disbelief with eyes the size of dinner plates. How could he summon you so soon? Tenshi asked Kyuubi, who shrugged. Well, to summon me should be easier for Naruto than it is to summon any other boss, since I am much closer to where Naruto is. Less chakra used to bring me out. Also I am his natural summon boss. Kyuubi said, and Naruto looked slightly proud. Wow, I can summon Kyuubi. That is so cool, Naruto said, puffing his chest out. Naruto, that isn't just cool, it is unheard of. You can summon the strongest fox, not even a week after learning to summon. What the hell are you? Tenshi asked, slightly scared of Naruto's extreme growth. Don't worry, Wolf. Naruto isn't some all-powerful genin. If he summoned me, then he wouldn't be able to stand afterwards. He would be completely drained of chakra. Kyuubi said. Tenshi relaxed a little, but not much. Humph. Shut up the fur ball. Naruto grumbled while crossing his arms. Tenshi smiled a little, relieved that Naruto wasn't overpowerful like Uchiha Itachi had been. Naruto, can you promise me something? Tenshi asked. Naruto looked at him, turning serious. Sure. What is Tenshi-asen? Naruto asked. No matter what, never betray your friends and family. Okay. Not for power, respect, acknowledgement or anything. Tenshi said. He sounded almost tired, but serious anyway. Naruto nodded. Sure. I promise. I won't betray my friends or family. I won't go back on my words. It is mine, he said, determination shining in his eyes. Tenshi smiled and held out his hand. Naruto grasped it and they shook hands. Then Tenshi turned and walked back to the shop, with Naruto trailing behind him. Anosa, why did you want me to promise that? Naruto asked. Tenshi sighed before looking at Naruto. Some years ago, there was someone who was about as old as you are now. He was very strong indeed. He could fight evenly with me. He was Sasuke's older brother and he was called a genius and prodigy, just like Sasuke. Itachi became an Anbu captain at the age of 13. Tenshi said, and Naruto's eyes widened in surprise. Wow, he must have been strong. Naruto said, and Tenshi nodded. Yes, I think he has the record for being the youngest Anbu captain ever. But Uchiha Itachi wasn't happy just being strong. He wanted more and more power. I don't know the details since I was out on that mission of mine when it happened, but Itachi slaughtered the whole Uchiha clan and fled Konoha, becoming a missing nun. The only Uchiha he let live was Sasuke. I don't know why Itachi did that, but I know that he was too strong for his own good. That is why I was scared when Kyuubi said you could summon him. I was worried that you would become another Itachi, since the village treats you like it does. Tenshi explained, and Naruto stared down on the ground. You were worried that I would kill everyone? Naruto asked, and Tenshi smiled slightly. No, I was worried that if you became another Itachi, extremely strong and tried to kill the village, I would have to stop you. I don't like most of the village any more than you do, but I still have to protect it. But Naruto, you won't become like that, will you? Tenshi asked, and Naruto grinned at him. Nope, I won't. I will never let you down, and I would never do anything to hurt Sakura-chan and Ino-chan. Besides, Rin-ne-san wouldn't make any more of her food for me if I became like that. Naruto said confidently, and Tenshi laughed at that. Tenshi and Naruto arrived at the shop, seeing the clone still waiting. Dismissing it, Tenshi sat down to wait on a nearby bench while Naruto was bored and started walking up and down a nearby tree. By the way, what is a missing nin? Naruto asked and Tenshi stared at him. What? Naruto asked, looking around to see if something was wrong. Tenshi's voice snapped his attention back though. Naruto, exactly what were you doing in the academy? Tenshi asked. Huh. Naruto simply replied and Tenshi sighed. A missing nun is a ninja exiled from his or her village. Uchiha Itachi is a missing nun since he left Konoha. Missing nins are hunted by hunter nins, to keep secrets about the village secret. A ninja's body holds a lot of information about what the ninja has been doing, what training he has undergone, what medications has been used. Stuff like that. Hunter nuns stop these secrets from being spread. You should have learned that at the academy though. Tenshi said and Naruto blinked a few times, before shrugging and continuing to walk up and down the tree. After a long while of waiting, and watching Naruto trying to walk up the tree in his hands, Tenshi had enough. Standing up, he waved Naruto over and went into the shop. And ran out again, his face drained of all color. Naruto looked at him questionably. I am never going to have a daughter. Not if I have to endure that. I would be ruined. No, I take that back. Sakura and Ino are going to ruin me. Tenshi mumbled. Naruto, now curious of what Tenshi meant, went into the shop as well. What he saw made his jaw drop to the floor. Both Sakura and Ino had huge piles of clothes, each pile as huge as they were tall. Naruto wasn't sure, but he thought that each pile must have more clothes in it than Naruto had ever seen before, which was unnerving him. What is that? Naruto stammered forth, pointing to the piles. Rin, who just now noticed Naruto, chuckled. That is Sakura and Ino's piles of clothes that they are going to choose from. They are still trying out to see which they should choose. By the way, where is Tenshi? Rin asked. I think he is mourning the loss of his wallet. Naruto said, staring at the piles. Rin laughed loudly at that. Is that so? Then you can get him and tell him he won't be completely ruined. Sakura and Ino are only going to pick 3 different outfits at the most. I figured I put an upper limit on that. Rin said and chuckled some more. Naruto looked at her before going outside and half dragging Tenshi inside again. Tenshi couldn't keep his eyes from the pile and he wasn't exactly admiring it. How can 2 people possibly choose so many clothes? He said weakly, his left eye twitching slightly. They are only going to pick out 3 outfits, so don't worry. Rin said and Tenshi relaxed a bit, but still his eye twitched slightly. Sakura and Ino were having the time of their lives. They were a bit disappointed about not being able to choose more than 3 outfits, but they were happy anyway. Trying on different shoes, sweatpants, skirts, pants, shirts, jackets and all kinds of clothing, they couldn't feel better. After practically going through every rack the shop had, the 2 of them turned to their piles. Now, on to stage 2. They said, grabbed some clothes from their pile and rushed to the changing rooms. After a while, they heard someone come into the shop, gasp and exit the shop again. Sakura and Ino didn't pay much attention and continued to try out clothes. When they had finished with the ones they had grabbed, they would exit the changing rooms, pick up new outfits to try and repeat the process. I am starting to regret this. Tenshi said as he looked at the clock. This reward had taken much longer than he had originally planned, but at least he had plenty of time to plan what to teach his students after this shopping adventure. 2.5 hours after Tenshi had seen the huge piles the girls had, they were finally done. Naruto was actually asleep, and Tenshi wasn't far from falling asleep himself. Rin didn't seem too bothered though, but even she seemed relieved when Sakura and Ino walked over with their choices. Sakura had picked out what looked very much like her original dress. 3 pairs, all in different colors. One was a deep green, very much resembling her eyes with yellow circles. The second was black, obviously intended for sneaking, while the last one was sky blue. All 3 of them had no sleeves, high split up the thighs and black sweatpants under. Tenshi thought the color of the last one looked slightly like Naruto's eye color, but didn't say anything. Ino had also chosen to stick with her old style, buying 3 two-piece outfits in yellow, dark blue and white. All that time, and they didn't even choose some different style. Tenshi thought in disbelief. Naruto looked dazed at his two teammates, thinking about how good they would look in those clothes, then beating himself mentally for thinking that. It must be that stupid fox that makes my thoughts perverted. Naruto thought to himself. Kyuubi of course heard and began ranting. Of course. What do you mean of course? You thought about those things yourself. Don't blame me kid, that was all you. But I don't disagree though, those two do look good, regardless of clothing. The old fox said. Naruto and Tenshi, who had been listening, could hardly believe what had just been said. Okay, now that all three of you have picked out what you want, I think we should get back to training. After I pay for this, that is. Tenshi said sadly and pulled out his wallet. The shopkeeper looked both happy and frustrated. Happy that he would have some sales today, but frustrated that he now had a lot of clothes to put back in place. After paying, Tenshi sent the Genin and Rin home with their clothes, and told them to meet him at the Konoha gates. He also told them to bring food and sleeping bags, and their equipment. Naruto, Sakura, Ino and Rin nodded and went in their respective directions, while Tenshi vanished to his favorite weapon shop. Tenshu's weapons and equipment. As he entered, he looked around and saw a girl who looked about a year older than his Genin team. She had her brown hair in two tight buns on her head, her brown eyes focused on sharpening a kunai, and she wore a pink Chinese-style shirt. Tenshi couldn't see her pants, since she was sitting behind the counter. Walking up to her, Tenshi smiled. Hello Tenten, how are you? He asked. Tenten looked up and looked at him in a confused manner. Who are you, and how do you know me? She asked. Tenshi wasn't surprised, and still smiled at her. My name is Tengoku Tenshi. I am a friend of your father's. He said. Tenten thought for a while. Your name seems familiar, but I can't place you, she said thoughtfully. No wonder, I have been away for a long time on a mission. But I am here to buy some weapons for my students. Tenshi said. Tenten jumped off her stool and walked around the counter. What weapons are you going to buy then? She asked eagerly. Tenshi thought for a bit. 3 sets of kunai, shuriken and explosive tags. 4 small swords would be nice, and 1 slightly shortened katana. I think that would be it, for now at least. Tenshi said and Tenten nodded. She went and picked up the kunai, shuriken, tags and the katana will take some time to shorten. How tall is the one who is going to use it? Tenten asked, taking out a notebook to write down the measurements. I would say a little shorter than you. I think that if the katana was fitted for someone your size, it would suit him just fine. Tenshi said and Tenten nodded, silently wondering who it was that was going to use the sword. Also I want all 3 of the swords to be engraved. I want. Deep in the mountain a spiral spring field lies on the blades. Tenshi said. Tenten looked at him curiously before writing it down on her note and taking the wakizashi blades. They will be finished in 2 days. Is that okay? Tenten asked and Tenshi nodded happily. Yes, thank you, he replied and Tenten smiled before adding together the price. Oh great, even more money is gone. Tenshi groaned in his mind. Alright, we are going camping. While on this camping trip, I am going to start teaching you. I am going to show you different elements, and you can choose which you like the most. Tenshi said, and Sakura, Naruto and Ino nodded. Anosa, which element is the best? Naruto asked, practically tripping from one foot to another. That depends on the situation, but generally no one element is better than another. It all comes down to how you use the element. Tenshi explained. Tenshi is more profound with fire and water, while I know mostly wind and earth. Rin said and Tenshi nodded. I know one lightning also, so I can at least show you. Tenshi said and the genin nodded in excitement. But first, We have to find someplace to set up camp. Tenshi said, and headed into the forest surrounding Konoha. Tenshi was standing on a slow-moving river, Rin beside him, Naruto, Sakura and Ino in front of him. Now that you three have mastered tree walk, and almost mastered water walk, it is time for training. I'm going to teach you one of each element. Then you can choose which element to focus on. Oh, also, in your backpacks you will find a little something from me and Rin. Don't look there until after practice is over though. Tenshi instructed and the three genin nodded. Hey Tenshi-san, what are you going to show us first? Naruto yelled. Sakura and Ino cringed a little from the loud sound. Okay. Please try to tone down your voice. A ninja is supposed to be stealthy. Rin said a little annoyed and Naruto pouted a little. First I'll teach you Kaden. Here is how it is done. Tenshi said while turning to the side, formed some seals, ended with the tiger seal, drew in a deep breath, and blew out fire from his mouth. The fire formed into a huge fireball and flew towards a target Tenshi had sat up earlier. The target was severely scorched. After a little, Tenshi stopped breathing fire and turned back to the now wide-eyed genin. That was the Kaden. Gukaku no. Here are the seals. Tenshi said and did the seals slowly. Naruto, Sakura and Ino copied him as well as they could, and after a couple of tries, they had the seals down. Good. You have the seals. Okay. When you do the seals, bring your chakra to your lungs and breathe out. If you did everything right, there shouldn't be too much trouble. Tenshi said. The genin nodded and turned to their own targets. Forming the seals, drawing the breath and shooting out small blasts of fire. Sakura and Ino stopped soon, feeling a burning sensation in their throats. Sakura didn't feel it too much, but Ino felt it much harder, almost like she had swallowed a lot of really hot sauce. Naruto also felt it, but kept blasting his target. After Naruto stopped breathing fire, Tenshi nodded approvingly. Good. You got the fire at least. Sakura and Ino stopped a bit early, but I guess that was because it burned. He asked and the two girls looked down at their feet before nodding. Naruto looked ready to gloat. Ha! Afraid of a little burning? He asked. That made Sakura and Ino look up at him, eyes burning with anger. We'll show you burning. They yelled, performed the seals and blasted Naruto with them, which they performed very well, almost flawlessly. When the smoke blew away, Tenshi was seen standing in front of Naruto, his hands in the bird seal. Okay. I am not going to punish anyone this time, since Naruto was asking for it, but next time one of you attacks someone else on this team without approval first, or as part of training, I am going to be very angry. Tenshi growled and the girls shuddered a bit. On the other hand, Sakura and Ino did very well. If you can do that again, without being mad or enraged, then I am willing to say you have learned. Come on, give it another go, okay. Tenshi said smilingly and the girls nodded before turning to their targets. Naruto followed their example and they performed the seals. 3 Gukaku flew towards the targets, burning them to crisp. Naruto, Sakura and Ino turned to look at Tenshi and Rin with expectant looks on their faces. Tenshi, seeing their expressions, smiled a huge smile and shook his head. I should stop being amazed at the speed you three are learning at. Very good, you have learned a Kaden. He said and Rin beamed at the genin, who beamed back. So, what's next Sensei? Ino asked and cracked her knuckles, ready for anything. Ah, that reminds me. Naruto, Sakura, when we are on missions, or training with other people, don't call me anything else than Sensei. Tenshi said. Both Sakura and Naruto looked puzzled at that. Why? They asked, amazingly equally loudly. Because if you call me uncle or, it shows that we have a personal relationship as well. We know about that, but a potential enemy might use that against us, like taking a hostage or something. That is why Anbu never calls each other anything else but their code names, to minimize the risk. Tenshi said. Sakura and Naruto nodded slowly, looking thoughtfully. Okay Sensei, so what are we going to do now? Sakura asked, saying Sensei playfully. Tenshi responded by looking at Rin, who walked over to dry land, formed some seals and said, Doden, Doriwaheki, and spat out some brown substance around her. A huge wall of earth rose in front of her, blocking her from the others. That is used to block an enemy's attacks, creating distractions or obstacles. Very useful, Tenshi said, and the wall crumbled with Rin looking smugly towards her public. Okay. Walk over to Rin and have her show you the. Rin, call me when they have mastered it. Tenshi said and vanished in a mirage. Okay kids, here are the seals. Rin said, gaining the attention of the genin. Sakura showed much talent with the Doden, and quickly learned to do it. Naruto and Ino had a bit harder time. Sakura had to give several tips and hints to her teammates. Tenshi had been hunting for food, and was watching Ino make a half-crumbling wall, while Naruto managed to encase himself in the. Tenshi sighed and started to skin and gut the wild boar he had caught. After making a fire with a quick miniature kaiden, Tenshi began roasting the boar. Half an hour later, Tenshi looked over and saw Ino standing on top of a wall of earth, grinning like a maniac. She looked tired as hell though. It doesn't look like Doden suits Ino. How about Naruto? Tenshi thought and looked at Naruto, who lay on a wall of his own. He looked tired as well, and Tenshi chuckled at the sight. So, only Sakura shows that she has talent with Doden. All three showed good kaiden control, although I noticed Ino was struggling with the fire. I think she was burned by it. Perhaps it's not smart to teach her more kaiden. I wonder what she has talent in though. Tenshi thought and headed over to Rin and a happy-looking Sakura. So, they have learned. Tenshi stated and Rin nodded. But I don't think Naruto and Ino have any more use of Doden. They have to focus too much, and use twice the amount of chakra needed. Rin said and Tenshi nodded. So far I have seen that Naruto and Sakura have talent for kaiden, Sakura has for Doden as well. I don't want to teach them more today, so tomorrow we will see which of the other elements suit Naruto and Ino best. Tenshi said. Hey, what about me? Sakura asked. What about you? Tenshi replied. Won't I get to see if I can learn the other elements? Sakura asked and Tenshi nodded. Of course. I didn't mean anything else either. Tenshi said, before he vanished and reappeared with Naruto over his shoulder and Ino in his arms. Setting Ino down, he started walking over to the fire. Come on, the food is almost done. Tenshi called and Sakura, Ino and Rin hurried after him. The five of them, Tenshi, Rin, Sakura, Naruto and Ino, sat around the fire and ate the boar Tenshi had caught. After the meal, Tenshi gained their attention by standing up. He looked them in their eyes and suddenly they saw themselves dying. Naruto, Sakura and Ino were frozen in fear. They couldn't move at all. Then it was all over. Tenshi smiled before crouching down in front of the genin. That was the Kanashibari no. I won't teach it to you yet, but I will teach you how to escape it. When you get caught in the, you either have to use all your willpower to move your body, face and beat down the fear, or inflict physical pain on yourself, like biting your lip. It isn't recommended to do it all the time though. Tenshi explained. Why didn't you tell us before using that? Naruto yelled. You would be ready. This time you weren't ready, and had no way of getting away. I wanted you to know how it felt. Now, I am going to do it again, and you three have to beat it. Tenshi said and used the. Naruto didn't have too much problem with handling it, since he had been through so much anyway. Sakura and Ino had more trouble, but with their willpower they managed to escape 3 of 4 tries. Tenshi and Rin then decided it was enough mental torture and decided to comfort the slightly shivering genin by sitting next to each other and letting the genin lean against them, Naruto against Rin, Ino against Tenshi and Sakura in the middle. They sat like that for a while, until Tenshi said it was late. He then sent the genin to bed. As Sakura lay there, looking at the stars, she thought about the short time she had been studying under Tenshi. Only a few days, but already I am much stronger. I can't wait to show everyone how strong I am. She thought and drifted off to sleep, not noticing that no thought of Sasuke had crossed her mind in a long time. Ino was also thinking, why did it hurt so much to do that Kaden, and why couldn't I get the Doden right? Am I that bad? No. Sensei said that my control was good, so that can't be it. I have to ask him tomorrow. Ino thought before closing her eyes, and falling asleep. Naruto didn't think of anything, instead he dropped asleep right away and dreamed of ramen, training and his two female teammates in their bathing suits. He suffered a severe nosebleed while sleeping. Tenshi and Rin didn't say anything that night, laying in their sleeping bags in total silence. When Tenshi woke the next morning, it wasn't because he wanted to, or because the sun was shining on him. It was because Rin, who had been sleeping next to him, had rolled over and rolled onto him. Thus Tenshi woke up, and when he opened his eyes he saw what he thought was the cutest sight ever. Rin lay on his stomach, her head resting on his chest, snoring gently, her hand grasping his sleeping bag gently, her hair partly covering her face, a strand of hair ticking her nose when she breathed in. Tenshi looked at her, noting the natural redness of her lips, the adorable shape of her cheek. In short, Tenshi lay there admiring the sleeping woman. Then what he was doing sunk in, and he quickly closed his eyes. What the? Why did I look at Rin that way? Tenshi thought, and tried to chase away the image of Rin sleeping so peacefully. Rin, on the other hand, was happy and content. She felt warm, and had found a comfortable pillow, so she didn't move away, or let go, opting to snuggle closer up to the pillow. Sakura woke up and looked over at Tenshi and Rin, and had to clamp a hand over her mouth to stop from giggling. They looked so cute, Rin lying on top of Tenshi. Ah, Sakura said silently. Maybe they'll hook up and start dating. That would be so awesome. She thought before trying to sleep again. Sakura then remembered something Rin had told her once. Rin had been standing in their hallway, clutching a letter. Flashback 3 years before Tenshi's return. Who's the letter from, Mom? The younger Sakura asked. Rin turned, an angry expression on her face. It's from Tenshi. She just said. Oh, is Uncle Tenshi coming back soon? Sakura asked innocently. Tenshi isn't your uncle anymore. Rin said and walked away, leaving a very confused Sakura. Scene change. About a year before Tenshi's return. Mom, do you remember when you got a letter from Tenshi? Sakura asked and Rin nodded. They were sitting in their garden, looking at the flowers. Sakura looked at her mother and saw she was sad, eyes downcast. Why did you tell me that Tenshi's not my uncle anymore? Sakura asked and Rin stiffened a bit before laughing. Oh, that. I was just mad at him. You see, we only call each other brother and sister. He isn't really related to us, but if you see him as your uncle, then you should call him that. Rin said and looked affectionately at her daughter, who nodded happily. Okay, so when is Uncle Tenshi coming home? Sakura asked and Rin stiffened. I don't know, she said, sounding depressed. End flashback. That means they can be together. Sakura thought happily. Naruto woke up and sat up while wiping dried blood from his nose. He looked around and saw Tenshi trying to sleep with Rin on his chest. Naruto rubbed his eyes a little at that. When he saw he wasn't hallucinating, he started to snicker. So, those two, huh? He said, mostly to himself, but he woke up the sleeping fox in his belly, who looked through his vessel's eyes and saw the scene as well. Baka. Just because she is sleeping on top of him doesn't mean they are together. Don't jump to conclusions, it's not something a ninja should do. Kyuubi scolded. Naruto mumbled. Blah blah blah. Before standing up and stretching. Hey sensei, how are you under there? Naruto asked, and Tenshi's eyes flew open. Naruto was surprised to see confusion in Tenshi's eyes. Then it looked like Tenshi got an idea. He closed his eyes, focused, and suddenly a cage bunshin pooped out next to him and Tenshi replaced himself with the clone. Rin didn't even feel the difference. Tenshi looked down at her and smiled before turning to Naruto, and gesturing for him to follow. They walked to the river and walked onto the surface. Naruto looked curiously at Tenshi, but he seemed to be in deep thought about something. Hey sensei, what's up with you and Rin-ne-san? Naruto asked and Tenshi looked at him over his shoulder. I don't know. Is there something with us? Tenshi replied, but before Naruto could retort, Tenshi turned to him and looked serious. We are going to work a little on taijutsu and how to approach an enemy in battle. What would you do to attack me now? Tenshi asked and Naruto didn't even think before forming a few Kage Bunshin and charging at Tenshi, who blurred out of sight and suddenly the clones were destroyed. I didn't mean to attack me, but you showed it rather well. So your tactic was to rush at me and overwhelm me? Tenshi asked and Naruto slowly nodded. That would work on most genin and some inexperienced chunin, but not on most junin. Try thinking of something different. Tenshi said and Naruto frowned in concentration. Something different? Naruto thought and looked at Tenshi, who stood there, arms crossed and eyes closed. I got it, Naruto thought, and formed some Kage Bunshin again. Tenshi opened his eyes and looked impassive as the clones rushed at him. Just like the time before, Tenshi destroyed the clones effortlessly, but this time Naruto was gone. Tenshi looked around but couldn't spot his student. Now where did he go? Tenshi thought, but suddenly he felt something behind him and quickly turned around and caught Naruto by the neck. Ah, very good. That would have worked if you were a bit faster or stealthier. That will come with time. Tenshi said and smiled at Naruto, who smiled back before bursting into smoke. Tenshi's eyes widened before he felt a kunai pressed against his neck. You were saying, Sensei? Naruto asked with pride evident in his voice. Tenshi smiled and blurred away, reappearing a bit away from Naruto. Okay, I'll take that back. You could have killed me there. Good strategy. I totally fell for it. Tenshi said and smiled at his student, who had a huge grin on his face. Sakura and Ino stood next to each other and looked down at Rin, who was still sleeping on a, by now, very annoyed Kage Bunshin. Tenshi and Naruto came walking over as well. So, she hasn't woken up yet. Tenshi said and Sakura shook her head. Well, it seems your chest is too soft, Sensei. Ino joked and Sakura and Naruto laughed a little at that. Tenshi huffed, crouched down and shook Rin awake. She slowly opened her eyes and looked first at her pillow, then the identical person to that pillow crouching next to her, then to the three amused genin behind Tenshi. Rin said, not knowing what to say. Tenshi helped her though. Well, it was nice to see I was comfortable, but I think you should get up and we can begin teaching the kids again. He said and Rin blushed a little before she pushed herself up and stood up. The clone vanished in a puff of smoke and Rin looked at Tenshi, who shrugged. When Naruto woke up, I made a Kage Bunshin and did a kawarimi with it, so that I could test Naruto on something. Tenshi explained. Rin didn't comment on that, she just looked thoughtful while eating breakfast. Okay. Now Rin will show you the wind. Tenshi said and Rin stepped forward. She then did some hand seals, took a deep breath of air and shot out 3 transparent spheres of wind that hit the target she had aimed at and literally destroyed it. Futon. Air bullet no. Rin said and turned back to the genin, who had admiring looks in their eyes. Now it is your turn, here are the seals. Rin said and Naruto, Sakura and Ino started making the seals, but neither of them could see to get it right. They tried again, but neither Sakura nor Naruto could do anything with them, and Ino wasn't much better. Okay, that was a little weird. This is D rank, so it shouldn't be any problem for them to at least get a puff of air. Rin said thoughtfully. Tenshi looked at her before sitting down next to the river they were practicing next to, closing his eyes and beginning to meditate. He quickly entered his usual state where he could see just about everything around him for about 20 feet or so, and feel chakra much better. He focused more on chakra and saw how it flowed. Rin, can you do the attack again? Tenshi asked and Rin nodded, formed the seals and shot out 3 air bullets again. Tenshi saw how the chakra moved and nodded. Okay. Now kids. It's your turn, Tenshi said, and they tried to perform. Naruto. Sakura didn't even get out a small puff, while Ino seemed to be grasping it, although she did something wrong. Okay. Naruto and Sakura can stop. They don't have to try. I don't think they will get this even if they worked at it for a long time. Ino shows more talent with it though, Tenshi said, and Ino looked proud, flashing a victory sign to Sakura. Ino, do it again please, Tenshi asked, and she nodded and started doing the seals, while gathering the chakra. Wait, Ino, hold the chakra, but try to mold it more into a tight sphere shape before you release it. There, you have it. Now try, Tenshi directed Ino, who spat out a small ball of wind, which didn't really do much, but at least it was an improvement. Tenshi exited his meditative state and got up. You three, listen up. There is something you should know about, Tenshi said, and all three genin instantly paid complete attention to him. Rin smiled at the sign of respect. A ninja can't learn all types, or rather, most ninjas can't. If someone doesn't have any talent for a type of, then it is almost impossible to learn it. From what I have seen yet, you all can learn fire and earth, although only Sakura can do earth well. Ino seems to be the only one who can learn wind, Tenshi explained, and Ino's pride skyrocketed. Sensing this, Tenshi quickly brought her down to earth. But that does not mean she is a better ninja, since that would also mean Sakura is a better ninja, since she is the only one of you three to do Doden effectively. All ninja have skills in something, so the fact that you can't learn something shouldn't make you sad. Just focus on what you can learn, okay? Tenshi asked, and the three genin nodded, Ino looking slightly dejected. Now, I think Ino should practice the futon later, since we have limited time and I want to see which type of you three should focus on. Next is water, Tenshi said, walked out on the river, formed seals, and a wall of water suddenly rose up around him. Sweden. Sujinheki, Tenshi said as the wall fell down. It can help stop attacks against the ninja. It is actually quite simple. You simply pump chakra into the water and pull it up, either completely around you like I did, or focus it in front of the attack you want to block. These are the seals, Tenshi explained, and did the seals again, slowly. Naruto, Sakura and Ino performed the seals several times to memorize them and then stepped out on the water before doing so. Naruto and Sakura produced a ripple on the surface, while Ino drew up a 2-inch tall wall of water. She looked really happy, while Naruto and Sakura were slightly short on breath and looked really frustrated. Why is it so hard to grasp the water? Sakura asked. What do you mean? That was easy, almost like the refreshing technique, only with water. It was hard to pull the water up though, Ino replied, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Naruto and Sakura stare at her, before trying again. They didn't have any more luck that time either, while Ino, who also tried again, managed to double the size of her wall. Tenshi and Rin were watching the kids try to master them. So, Ino has talent with wind and water, while Sakura has with fire and earth, and Naruto has with fire and, Rin said, and Tenshi thought for a bit. I think we should wait until I have shown them the Raiden. If my guess is right, then Naruto, with his huge chakra capacity, can become really good with lightning. Tenshi said, and Rin looked at him. As far as I remember, that is B rank. So far all the, with the exception of the Gukaku, have been D. You think he can master it? Rin asked. With enough time, yes. But I don't need them to master them now, only show us if they have any talent with them or not. Tenshi answered and walked towards the genin. Okay, listen, I am going to have you three try one last. It is the only Raiden I know. It is a difficult one, but I should be able to see if you have talent for Raiden even if you don't get it. Okay, Tenshi asked and began making the seals. Hey, Tenshi-sensei, how come it was so hard to get the water to rise? Naruto asked loudly, interrupting Tenshi in his seal making. Think, Naruto. That means we don't have talent for Sweden. Sakura huffed and Naruto scratched his head. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Naruto said, grinning slightly. Alright, enough chit-chat. Tenshi commanded and started making seals again. Then, when he finished, he put his hands so that the fingers were facing each other with about an inch between his hands. Blue sparks started to form around his fingers. Raiden. Shock fingers. Tenshi said, and his fingers were completely covered in blue electricity. Tenshi then ran towards a tree, ramming his fingers into it. The effect was that the electricity spread throughout the tree, clearly visible. Successful contact with a human body with this will almost guarantee a kill, or at least a disable, depending on where you hit. Tenshi said and walked over to the genin, who were gawking at the display. The tree would occasionally give off a blue spark. Here are the seals. Tenshi said and showed the seals slowly. It was a fairly long sequence, but after a bit of help and a lot of trying, all three of the genin performed the seals and called the name. For Sakura and Ino, nothing happened whatsoever, but for Naruto, a small blue glow surrounded his fingers. Tenshi looked at Naruto and told him to do it again. Naruto did, and the blue glow was back. Naruto then ran towards a tree and rammed his fingers into it. Tenshi and Rin smiled when they saw the small blue glow go from Naruto's fingers to the tree. Ah, very good, Naruto. You do have talent for Raiden. Now come here, you three. Tenshi said, and Naruto, Sakura and Ino gathered in front of him. He crouched down and smiled at them. Okay, based on what I have seen these past 2 days, I can now safely say what elements suit each of you the best. Naruto, you should focus on Kaden and Raiden, since you managed to perform the Gukaku and at least a little bit of lightning came on your fingers when you did that. Sakura, you should focus on Kaden and Doden, since like Naruto you did the Gukaku and you also performed the Doryuheki. Ino, I want you to focus on Futon and Suiten, since you were the only one to have at least a little effect in those two. And yes, I know you also did the Gukaku, but it hurt you, and I don't think you should try it again, at least not until you have to or have gotten a little stronger. Tenshi said, silencing Ino's complaint about not focusing on Kaden. I agree with Tenshi. I think that if you three did that, then your team would become very strong together. Rin said, and the three genin thought it over for a bit before each sprouting a huge grin. Okay, were the simultaneous responses. Good, now I want you three to practice on your two for a while. Tenshi said. Immediately, Naruto and Sakura started blasting the river with their Gukaku, while Ino started on her air bullets. The rest of the day was spent with Tenshi and Rin correcting and helping the three genin. Then came Saturday, the first day of the joint training between Team 7 and Team 10. Tenshi, Sakura, Naruto and Ino had met up earlier and increased the weights they wore. Now each weight was 30 pounds. Sensei, why do we have to train with Sasuke Bastard and his team? Naruto whined while they were walking to the training area. Tenshi smirked slightly and waited for the unavoidable bonk from either Sakura or Ino, but surprisingly none came. Tenshi turned and looked at his two female students. They didn't look like they were concerned about what Naruto said. Naruto, who also had been waiting to get hit and had his arms over his head with his eyes closed. When nothing happened, he slowly opened one eye, and looked at his teammates. Huh, Naruto just said, while Tenshi smiled and turned to continue walking. Interesting, perhaps when they don't see the Uchiha, their crush goes away bit by bit. Tenshi thought, a bit happy that Sakura and Ino seemed to get over the brooding Uchiha. This was just the beginning, the real secret will unfold in the next episode. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And hit the bell icon so you'll be the first to see what happens next. See you again in the next journey of Uzumaki Empire 2.0.